Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha, Naruto, you are born as a devil. Chapter 41. And this woman has a similar idea. Then, I look forward to this next time. Anyway, I have become the benefactor of the Hyuga clan. With this convenience, I can still do more things. She can no longer escape from my palm. Delicious food, of course, should be savored slowly. Knock knock knock. Naruto-kun. Hinata knocked on the door. Quiet midnight. Snowflakes are falling outside. The white snowy night reflects the Hyuga resident, immersing the sky and the earth in white. Such a bright night. Hinata and Naruto walked side by side on the wooden corridor under the eaves. The two stepped on the floor and watched the snow scene. Hinata just felt that this moment was very beautiful. In addition, Naruto-kun, so handsome. Naruto, wearing a water blue men's kimono, with blonde hair wantonly, is indescribably handsome. Hinata, you are also very cute in this outfit. Naruto turned sideways and stretched out his finger. Although I, Uzumaki Naruto, am handsome, but Hinata, you are the real hero. Too perfunctory. Kyuubi couldn't help but complain. Pay more attention, please. Why is the situation of my son so different? Kyuubi couldn't help but think. Minato Namikaze must have saved Konoha, so his son can be so perfunctory to pick up girls everywhere. But the problem is, Minato Namikaze was really desperate to pick up girls back then. Kyuubi couldn't help but think of the past when Golden Flash was on the verge of life and death many times, and was even pierced through the chest by the runaway Kushina once. If it wasn't for Hashirama's granddaughter, Tsunade, who happened to come back to the village to visit relatives that day, Minato Namikaze would have died. Although it was me who made Kushina run away. But there's nothing I can do. Who made these hateful humans look at me with such hatred and disgust, and imprison me in their bodies? No, Nine Tails, you don't understand. Naruto started with the classic, Nine Tails, you don't understand. And Nine Tails knew that this kid would start talking nonsense or making crooked arguments again. At this time, Hinata Shaw followed the two silently. The cold weather outside and the burning pain in the body formed a world of ice and fire. Hinata's attention was on Naruto, so she didn't notice her abnormality. What's going on? Hinata Shaw, who also didn't understand the situation, just felt that she was very uncomfortable when walking. Not to mention a little awkward, I always felt, as if I sweated a lot. What's wrong with me? The New Year's bell rang. This indicates 12 o'clock, and the arrival of the new year. The bells in the back mountain continued to ring, and the lights of thousands of houses in Konoha were bright. People were immersed in a joyful atmosphere. The Hyuga clan's residence was no exception. On New Year's Eve, eating soba noodles and osechi cuisine. In the hall, Naruto sat at the head of the table, next to the elders of the main family. Hinata was beside Naruto, her face slightly red, like a wife, picking up food for Naruto and pouring drinks for him. Hisashi Hyuga and Yuzuki Hyuga looked relieved and relaxed. Hisashi, who was sitting at the lower seat, also looked less gloomy. The ignorant Neji looked up at the upper seat from time to time, looking at Naruto curiously. Both the host and the guests were happy. Naruto ate with his cheeks full, his eyes narrowed into a line. What he thought in his mind was the present and the future. I have saved the Hyuga clan, it's really great. This is equivalent to taking the first big step in life. Thinking of the oath he made after traveling to the world of Naruto, the idea of changing various tragedies, now that he has achieved initial success, he is naturally very happy in his heart. The crisis of the Hyuga clan has been resolved, Neji's father is not dead, and he also understands the affection between brothers. Then Neji's life path will be completely different. Neji, who no longer hates the main family, will be a good brother to Hinata and live a passionate, lively and cheerful life. It's really great. Naruto glanced at Hyuga Yuzuki. Hinata's mother nodded slightly and smiled back. She was dressed in new clothes, and she was indescribably dignified, gentle and beautiful. Soon after Hinata's mother gave birth to Hanabi, her health deteriorated rapidly and she eventually died. So, I want to save Hinata's mother. I also want to save the Uchiha clan. Quote, because the situation of the Uchiha clan will go from bad to worse. In the original book, they will be exterminated. Before that, I have tried to contact Uchiha Shisui. This is a good start. In short, I must save everyone in the Uchiha clan, and Sako's mother. The residence of the Uchiha clan. Seiko is celebrating the new year with her family. The table is full of food, and her mother's cooking skills are naturally beyond words. However, Seiko, who should have eaten a lot, felt an indescribable loneliness in her heart, which made her seem to have no appetite. My father did not go to the battlefield like Shisui-san, and all the family members were there, so why did I still have such a feeling? Seiko, what's wrong? Itachi, who cares about his sister the most, is more considerate of Seiko than his parents to some extent. Every move of his sister affects his heart. No, nothing, brother, eat food. Seiko smiled and picked up food for her brother with chopsticks. And soon she found out the reason for her unhappiness. Will Uzumaki Naruto be lonely alone? Konoha's New Year celebration lasted until the early morning. Before dawn, Sarutobi Hiruzen left his family and rushed to the Hokage building. The snow outside made the sky and the earth look white. This also made the sky look like early morning. Kaharu, Yan, Danzo. Happy New Year. Staring at the three old friends who were also present, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a smile. In the meeting room of the Hokage building, 4 senior executives made the final decision. In fact, it was just a review of the policy that had been passed yesterday. Very soon, Konoha remotely connected to Kumogakure. The two sides had a heated discussion on the Hyuga incident. This time, Konoha did not back down, but condemned Kumogakure's unreasonable robbery with a tough attitude. Handing over the body of Hyuga Hiyashi. That's impossible. Handing over Naruto is even more impossible. Reikage was furious, and he said. He wanted Konoha to see the iron fist of Kumogakure. In other words, let Konoha wait for the war to start. The Konoha army, which had long been deployed on the border of the Land of Fire, was always ready to fight. As the negotiations between the two parties broke down, the news quickly reached the battlefield. The border war broke out early in the morning. A large number of Konoha ninjas rushed to the front line. They are not necessarily combatants, but also many logistics personnel, responsible for medical care, transportation of supplies, and other tasks, to provide strong support for the front line. Early in the morning, at the moment of the arrival of the new year, Uchiha Fugaku changed his clothes and prepared to go to the front line. Fugaku, be careful. Under his wife's reluctant gaze, Uchiha Fugaku nodded slightly, and his square face, which was always serious, became even more serious at this moment. This war may be the key to changing the situation of our clan. Uchiha Fugaku believed that the opportunity for the Uchiha clan had come. Although the end of the Third War did not last long, the Uchiha clan suffered a lot in these years. It is not an exaggeration to describe it as getting worse. The internal conflict between the Uchiha and the village has intensified to an unimaginable level. Now we are facing a border conflict. Although the scale of the war may not be too large, it is enough to divert conflicts. He thought so. Father. Itachi stood at the corner of the corridor. First, he took a look at his sister's room, and faintly murmured in his sleep. Then, he looked at his parents again. As a genin, Itachi is not yet qualified to participate in the battlefield. So, wait, Itachi hoped that he would be eligible to apply for the Chunin exams that would come this year or soon. Instead of being continuously rejected by the mentoring jonin like in previous years. After Uchiha Fugaku left, Itachi walked towards his mother. Just when I wanted to comfort my mother and tell her not to worry too much, a figure rushed in from outside. He is his mentor jonin. Itachi was slightly startled. The former first paid tribute to his mother and wished him a happy new year. Then, he walked over and said, Itachi, we have a mission. The initiation of the war was decided jointly by the top management of Konoha and the daimyo of the Land of Fire. In order to deal with this war, the Fire Nation officials responsible for providing materials, money and other support matters naturally have to come to Konoha and have detailed discussions with Konoha's top brass. The daimyo of the Land of Fire will come to visit in person, so our mission is to go to Kyoto and escort the daimyo to and from. Quote exclamation mark quote. Itachi's eyes lit up, and his heart suddenly became hot. This kind of mission that will give you a glorious resume is not to be missed. Once this task is completed, even his mentor jonin will no longer be able to find any faults with him. So, the road to the Chunin examination. Mother, I'm leaving. Without having breakfast, Itachi immediately set off and guided the Jonin away. What he wanted in his mind was to become a Chunin as soon as possible. The border of the Fire Nation. After receiving the war order, everyone in Konoha took action. They stood in their respective positions, waiting for the arrival of the enemy's large forces ahead. There are still 2 kilometers. The ninjas of the Hyuga clan issued a shrill warning sound. No matter what the environment is, Byakugan is an absolute strategic weapon, capable of all-round insight into the enemy's actions. Call. Shisui breathed a long sigh of relief and tried to calm down his mind. Many of the companions around me also behaved in similar ways. Many people have not experienced this kind of battle, so they will naturally be very nervous or even scared. There's still 1 kilometer to go. The ground seemed to start shaking slightly. Countless birds chirped and flew high into the forest. Everyone's breathing became faster and faster, and the atmosphere became more and more tense. For Konoha, at this time, someone shouted. The crowd fell silent, and then everyone started shouting slogans. Shisui is no exception. Also for the Uchiha clan. Shisui thought silently. This war might be the one that changes the situation of Uchiha. 2 hours later, the mountain road from Kyoto in the Land of Fire to Konoha. The normal journey of a ninja is 1 hour and 40 kilometers, it takes 1 hour from Konoha to Kyoto. The daimyo of the Land of Fire is heading to Konoha in a sedan. The walking speed of the bearer is 1 hour and 5 kilometers, which means it will take 8 hours to reach Konoha. Itachi thought about these things in his mind and looked up at the sky. It's daylight. Behind him was the team of the Fire Country daimyo. Early in the morning, I spent an hour rushing to Kyoto. Now, 1 hour has passed and there are still 7 hours left to travel. Itachi's genin class is led by the instructor Junin. In addition to them, the team that protects the daimyo also has the Anbu team 6 inches who follow them in the dark. The daimyo of the Land of Fire himself also has 12 guardian ninja as bodyguards. No matter how you look at it, this is a foolproof mission. Even so, Itachi was still slightly worried. There was a war between Kumogakure and Konoha. Will the enemy village send spies to sneak into the Land of Fire in advance? Will you suddenly encounter a large group of enemy ninjas during this mission? At this moment, Itachi felt his own powerlessness. He thought of Uchiha Azumi's Sharingan, Shisui's Sharingan. So, when can my Sharingan be opened? The marching team did not realize that they had been targeted by some dangerous people. Call. Windswept mountain peaks. Obito stood on it, overlooking the earth. This complex terrain is the best environment for hands-on work. The war between Konoha and Kumogakure created such a perfect opportunity. As long as the Fire Country daimyo can be killed, the country will surely fall into chaos. At that time, I will go to Konoha again and fish in troubled waters. Maybe I can reproduce the previous Nine Tails Rebellion. As the initiator of the Nine Tails Rebellion, Obito has been planning to realize the Moon Eye plan for many years. And the best way to capture all the tailed beasts, realize the plan, and reduce the difficulty is naturally to continuously weaken the strength of each ninja village. For this reason, he caused the Nine Tails Rebellion. Later, he controlled the 4th generation Mizukage of the Hidden Mist Village, Yagura Karataki, and continued the Blood Mist policy, making everyone in that village in danger and unable to unite as one, and the number of ninjas continued to decrease. Now, another great opportunity is in front of us. Once Konoha falls into chaos, the Hidden Sand Village will take the opportunity to tear each other apart and bite back. Naturally, the Hidden Rock Village will not sit idly by. The tired Hidden Cloud Village will of course also reveal flaws. This kind of behavior of commanding all beings and treating all living things as chess pieces makes Obito feel that he is the immortal of the new world. Because only immortals are qualified to let the infinite Tsukuyomi descend, so that all lives are immersed in beautiful dreams. And I, Uchiha Obito, am the god of the new world. Obito, there seems to be a member of the Uchiha clan in this team. At this time, Black Zetsu beside him reminded. Huh. Obito narrowed his eyes. The eyes under the orange flame pattern mask gradually turned red. The Scarlet 3 Magatama Sharingan observed the team at the foot of the mountain. Soon, Obito saw Itachi. Black Zetsu. This kid seems to be the eldest son of Evil Eye Fugaku. Uchiha Fugaku's son. Humph. It doesn't matter whose son it is. The Uchiha clan will be the biggest obstacle to realizing the Moon Eye plan. Because every Uchiha may awaken the Sharingan, or even the Mangekyo. And the ability of each, Mangekyo Sharingan, is extremely strange and hard to guard against. So in the process of realizing the plan, the Uchiha clan must be wiped out. This will also bring another problem. At present, the Rinnegan is in the hands of Nagato. For the final control of the Outer Path Demon statue, there will inevitably be a fight between tigers and wolves. So, in order to be able to deal with Nagato safely, a helper will be needed at that time. Then, let me try this kid's ability. Stop. With the warning of the guiding Jonin, the team of the Fire Country Daimyo stopped. Everyone stared at the front. On this uphill road, a man in black suddenly appeared. He was wearing a very thin black home kimono and wooden clogs on his feet. He didn't look like someone walking on a mountain road, but more like a homebody. But the weird thing was, he was wearing a mask. Orange base with black flame patterns all over. In the position of the right eye, there is a hole, which is also the only observation point. Itachi's instinct told him that this guy who suddenly appeared was an ominous person. However, Itachi's nervousness was not conveyed to the two fellow genin. The boyfriend named Chuangma was excited about this unexpected incident. After all, performing D-level missions every day is indeed boring, and it is impossible to encounter enemies. How could he not be excited when a guy who might be an enemy suddenly appeared? Who are you? The instructor Junin snapped. Theoretically speaking, if the Anbu team's 6 people clear the way around, no strangers will appear. But at this moment, no one from Anbu Class 6 showed up, which made him feel inexplicable anxiety and worry. HMPH. Obito snorted coldly. The air began to vibrate invisibly. Quote exclamation mark quote. Itachi opened his eyes and was keenly aware of the changes in the air. Everyone, be careful. By the time Itachi shouted, it was already too late. Illusion. In just an instant, the guiding Junin and the others, including the 2 guardian ninjas, the 4 bearers, and the accompanying attendants, all became motionless. Itachi's scalp instantly felt numb. Being able to use illusions to control so many people in a short moment, the opponent's strength. Obito. Oh, there are 2 more fish that slipped through the net. Not sure if it was an illusion, but Itachi felt the joy in the other person's tone. Very good, Uchiha Itachi. Single quote. Obito narrowed his eyes and immediately understood Itachi's talent. 2 guardian ninja warriors with Junin strength, and 1 Konoha Junin. When all 3 were hit, Uchiha Itachi was not affected. As for the other one who slipped through the cracks. Hey. Itachi's teammate, Denma, spoke. What I'm best at is illusion. How can you fall into this trap with a technique like yours? After speaking the provocative words, the boy immediately looked at Itachi beside him. Itachi, you are so scared that you dare not move. The words that seemed to be joking were full of characteristics unique to Konoha ninjas. Tenderness towards companions. Aha! Denma pulled out the kunai and turned his gaze back to Obito, then. Etc. Stop. Don't go there, pass the horse. Itachi wanted to call out to his teammates, but he couldn't make a sound. Drink. Chuinma, who was running all the way, swung his kunai and hit his opponent's body. Itachi. Hit. However, the other party showed no pain at all, and even his clothes were not broken. It was like passing through a phantom. Schwanma. Poof. Obito stretched out his hand and passed it directly through his chest. When the gloved palm emerged from Denma's back, it was already bloody. Kid, you really shouldn't say that my illusion skills are only to this extent. A cruel and cold tone came from Obito's mouth. Denma, who was hanging on Obito's arm, trembled a few times and spit out a large mouthful of blood. Then he became motionless. Click. The kunai fell from his hand and fell to the ground. Obito didn't look at the deceased at all, but stared at Itachi with the black holes in his mask. Uchiha Itachi, why do you know my name? Itachi's teeth chattered. Anger, sadness, a series of huge emotions welled up from the bottom of my heart. Of course, there is also the self-hatred of being powerless and watching your companions die before your eyes. Of course I know your name and everything about the Uchiha clan. Humph, you want to get information. No rushing forward recklessly. Seeing his companions dying in front of his eyes, he still resolutely carried out his duties as a ninja and tried his best to extract as much clichés from the enemy as possible. You are good material, there is no need to rush to death. Obito looked away and looked at the luxurious sedan. My target is the famous name of the fire country, just watch me kill him honestly. However, Itachi had no intention of following Obito's advice. He flew and threw multiple kunai and shurikens. The superb throwing skills hit Obito from multiple directions. However, it also penetrated the past. It seems you really want to die, huh? When Obito said this, he suddenly looked towards the side of the mountain forest. There was some movement over there. Then a silver-haired Anbu figure appeared from it. Hatake, Kakashi. Obito's tone became complicated. Uchiha Itachi, you saved a life. Then, next time. Waves like an ink painting sucked Obito into the holes of the mask. In front of Itachi, Obito left this place quietly. Schwanma's body lay face down on the ground, and the blood gradually spread, staining the ground red. Hateful. Itachi clenched his fists, his body shaking. Overwhelming emotions surged into my brain, and then my eyes. Not trembling with fear, it's anger at one's own incompetence. All ninjas will die. It is normal for a horse to die. But I am too weak. Itachi had his eyes closed when a bright light suddenly appeared in front of him. Then, this light became a source of power. I feel it. Scarlet power suddenly rose, like a meteor streaking across the night sky. Are you okay? Kakashi landed in front of Itachi and looked at the trembling Uchiha boy. This reminded him of his former companions. Obito. It's okay. When Itachi opened his eyes, his body stopped shaking. And the atmosphere became completely different. Kakashi was stunned for a moment and had some suspicion. And soon, the shouts of his companions diverted Kakashi's attention. How? Nearby mountains and forests, Obito's figure appeared. Black Zetsu came over and asked about his observations. HMPH, that kid Itachi is a good chess piece. Obito hummed. Uchiha Itachi is an arrogant Uchiha. He is arrogant and headstrong. He will not blame himself for the death of his companion. He will only think that it is normal for his companions to die, and that my incompetence is the key. This puts I first, instead of putting the concept of companion first. From this point on, he has deviated from the true path of the will of fire. This also shows that he can become a very useful chess piece. There is hope for the destruction of the Uchiha. Obito felt great joy in his heart, and countless plans to exterminate Uchiha suddenly appeared in his mind. What about Konoha? Black Zetsu asked again after seeing Obito's thoughts. This operation did not kill the name of the fire country, and the other party will definitely arrange more good players in the future. The original plan to disrupt Konoha also came to nothing. Just send your men over to make a big fuss. Obito's subordinates are the ninjas in the ninja village who were controlled by the Blood Mist. Many people are dissatisfied with the high-pressure policies of Blood Mist country. If these people are sent to Konoha, won't the matter be solved? In the past, waves of people were sent to death, but Uchiha Shisui stopped them all. In the end, Uchiha Shisui became famous as Shunshin Shisui. Right now, Uchiha Shisui is on the Kumogakure battlefield, unable to escape. Isn't this a good opportunity? By the way, it's time to clean up the inside of Akatsuki. Through Itachi's incident, Obito quickly thought of a plan. Within the Akatsuki organization, most people are currently subordinates of Nagato. They are relatively close to Nagato. It's time to put in your own pieces. To do this, it is necessary to eliminate Nagato's subordinates first. In the name of Kurigakure village, hire people from Akatsuki to assist in the plan to attack Konoha. In this way, wouldn't it kill two birds with one stone? On the one hand, it can reduce Nagato's power. On the other hand, one wave of Kurigakure village can be weakened, and another wave of dishonest guys can be reduced. Hehe, Obito is really bad, I'll contact Nagato right away. The other half of Black Zetsu's body, the pale, white Zetsu, laughed. Konoha, the residence of the Uchiha clan. Itachi stayed at home, closing his eyes and thinking. The attack on the daimyo seems to be a memory from a long time ago. But in fact, that only happened half a day ago. After Anbu Team 6 took over the team, they escorted the daimyo all the way back to Kyoto. Due to the emergency situation, the visit to Konoha was stopped. The higher-ups listened to everyone's reports and awaited the return of Anbu Team 6. Because of Schwanma's death, the team was temporarily disbanded. Itachi rested at home until waiting for the next transfer order. "Brother, you have completed your mission." At the entrance of the courtyard, Itachi, who was sitting on the floor under the corridor, looked over there. "My sister and mother who went out to pay New Year greetings have returned." At this time, it was already noon. My sister, who was unaware of her mood, ran over happily. "It's time to eat. My brother will have lunch at home." Looking at his sister's smile, Itachi nodded slightly, and the unhappiness in his heart seemed to calm down a lot. "I'm going to prepare lunch." Mother Makoto walked to the kitchen. My sister, who was about to go over to help, suddenly turned back. After a while, she took out an exquisitely wrapped gift from the room. Itachi initially thought that his sister was giving him a New Year's gift. But the younger sister said, "Mom. Brother, I'm going out and I'll be back within an hour." "Okay." Mother's gentle voice sounded. She was always so doting on her children, even to the point of being a little indulgent. Itachi frowned slightly, secretly complaining about his mother's irresponsibility. The war between Kumogakure and Konoha has begun. Even the daimyos of the Land of Fire were attacked, and there might be enemies lurking inside Konoha. "If something happens if my sister goes out." Quote exclamation mark quote. Itachi immediately noticed the change in his psychology. Growing up, he never complained about his parents. But this moment, is it because the Sharingan is turned on? Quote. He rubbed his eyebrows. He looked up and watched his sister running out of the yard. Itachi took a deep breath and decided to protect his sister personally. "Having gained the power of Sharingan, I am completely different from before. The source of power blooms in the body. At this moment, it seems that I can do anything. In addition, who is your sister's gift intended for? Is it the Uzumaki Naruto that my sister has mentioned many times?" Quote. Itachi muttered, feeling a little uncomfortable. Just in time, taking advantage of this opportunity. Just go and see what kind of kid he is. Hokage's office. The midday sun was a bit cold. The heavy snow that fell last night covered the entire Konoha, and wherever you looked, it was completely white. Information about the first conflict between Kumogakure and Konoha was transmitted back from the front line. Both sides suffered casualties, and the first wave of attacks ended temporarily with each other's retreat. The four senior executives are actively adjusting their strategies. After the discussion was over and it was time for lunch, they each stood up and prepared to leave. Hiruzen. Danzo stopped the former. "I took a look at this year's Chunin examination application catalog, and there is still no name for Itachi Uchiha." Quote. "I also feel a little strange about this matter." Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around with an incredulous expression and walked back to the table. Uchiha Itachi completed the tests in all subjects within 4 months of entering the school and was hailed as the first genius since the founding of Konoha. However, several years after graduation, he still failed to qualify for the Chunin examination. This is very unreasonable. A genin who wants to apply for the Chunin exam needs a recommendation from a mentoring junin. This is Konoha's rule, Danzo said slowly. Itachi's mentor, the jonin, probably was jealous of his talent, so he repeatedly rejected Itachi's application proposals. Danzo reached out and interrupted him before Hiruzen could refute. "I already have solid evidence." Danzo took out a document from his arms and slapped it in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. "This is not the first time that guy has done this. On the surface, there is nothing unusual, but in his heart, there is a dark evil." Danzo's mouth curled up, looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a surprised expression. "It is also possible for the top management to directly nominate a genin to participate in the Chunin exam." Danzo directly said what he was going to say. Let Itachi bypass his unreliable mentor, and let the top management decide his progress on the ninja road directly. Sarutobi Hiruzen picked up the information, and his brows furrowed as he read it. "No matter what, the investigation of the route is absolute. I didn't expect that you would buy into the Uchiha clan's account so much." Sarutobi Hiruzen was puzzled. How come Danzo, who usually denigrates Uchiha the most, suddenly changed his nature? "That's because I think this will bury Itachi's talent, and for the village, this is an unacceptable huge loss." Danzo laughed, his face gloomy and cold. Uchiha Itachi. He does have strong talents and gifts. Such a person is just right for realizing his wishes. Uchiha against Uchiha, killing with a borrowed knife. The historical problems left over since the establishment of Konoha village will be cut off in his own hands. The person who bears the butcher knife must be Itachi. Step by step, led him into the darkness. Using him for his own use is the next thing to consider. Danzo. Then, it's decided. Let Itachi participate in the Chunin exam held next week. The Chunin exam, which is held twice a year, has been brought forward. Because of the outbreak of war on the front line, it is necessary to prepare for the rainy day and promote and fill a group of Chunin in advance so that the source of troops will be continuous. The Hyuga clan's residence. Let's go home, goodbye. Naruto waved to everyone in the Hyuga clan. There must be a reason for rushing home without even having lunch. I haven't had time to clean the house yet. If guests come and see the mess, they will definitely dislike it. Naruto spoke lightly, but Hyuga Shah had a bad feeling. The head of the Hyuga clan had just received a transfer order and had led another part of the clan to the front line. On this day full of crisis. Not to mention protecting Konoha, at least be a good home guard. Naruto thought. Ahem. At this moment, Hyuga Yuzuki started coughing. It's not cold when it snows, but it's cold when it melts. Aunt Yuzuki, please go back quickly, so as not to catch a cold. Naruto turned around and waved his hand, saying very considerately. Okay. Hinata Yuzuki smiled. However, in fact, her cough was due to her deteriorating health. She thought Naruto didn't know and thought the child was innocent. But in fact, Naruto knew it very well. We really have to find a way to save Hinata's mom. Naruto decided to go back and think about it carefully. Naruto-kun. Looking at Naruto's gradually receding figure, Hinata's little face suddenly became a little disappointed. She hasn't spent enough time with Naruto-kun yet. By the way, let's use the excuse of a New Year's visit to go to Naruto-kun's house tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. Hinata Yuzuki blinked her eyes after noticing her daughter's mood, and then instructed the maid beside her. Axia, after you finish the affairs of the clan, you will go to Naruto-kun and help him with the housework. Hinata Yuzuki's instructions made Hinata Shah's face change instantly. A complex expression of fear, disbelief, resistance, disgust, etc. appeared on that pretty face. Why is this happening? She cried in her heart, almost crying. She originally thought that she only needed to take care of the demon fox boy who came to visit Hyuga. After he left, she would never see him again. But now the lady asked her to take the initiative to come to her house. The bruises that had not disappeared made her body ache again. Axia, what's wrong? Hyuga Yuzuki asked without noticing. No, nothing, madam, I was thinking about what cleaning tools I should bring when the time comes. Hyuga Shah concealed her expression and kept the matter secret. Because she knew that even if she said it, no one would believe it. After all, that demon fox Uzumaki Naruto had become a noble of the Hyuga clan, and she could not offend him at all. What will happen in the future? Hyuga Shah only felt that life was becoming darker. Naruto finally left the Hyuga clan's residence. Somewhere in the distance, on the roof of a building, Azuki Yugao watched this scene with a telescope and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. This new year, she has been spending it outside like this. Hayate had already gone to the front line, and I don't know what the situation is. Senior Kakashi and the others also have other tasks. I was left alone, and I survived the cold night alone. The order given to me by the Hokage was to take good care of Naruto, especially at this critical moment when the war broke out. Putting away the telescope, Yugao jumped down the fence and landed like a nimble cat, and then ran and jumped in the direction of Naruto. Naruto walked on the road and vaguely noticed something. Guessing that it was most likely Azuki Yugao, he ignored it. Crack, creak, walking on the snow, the ground made a pleasant sound. And before I knew it, snowflakes fell again in the sky. Naruto didn't hold an umbrella, nor did he have one. He put his hands in a cloth bag and carried a large package on his back. The bag contained a New Year's kimono and a bunch of gifts from Hinata's mother. Just like that, Naruto returned home on his own. Hey, Uzumaki Naruto. Ha! Standing downstairs, before he even went up the stairs, he heard a shout from above. The young girl's tender voice immediately attracted Naruto's attention. He looked up. Seiko, wearing a new winter outfit, stood at the door of her house. She held a gift in her hand and placed her hands in front of her. Because of the weather, white steam kept coming out of her mouth. Sako's cheeks were red from the cold, and her mouth was upturned, like an inverted check mark. You guy, where did you go in the middle of the day? Seiko, who looked dissatisfied, tightened her scarf and then took a step. Her feet in black leather shoes stepped on the stairs, making a clanging sound. The scarf fluttered, and the snow was colorful. Naruto looked at her coming down the stairs without saying a word. Until Seiko walked in front of Naruto. What's wrong? Speak. Having not noticed that Seiko, who was extremely cute, was 100 times more charming than her peers. And in the dark, Itachi, with a gloomy face, hid in the shadows and stared at this scene, also without saying a word. Squeak. The door opened. Naruto walked in first. Seiko stood at the door, stepped on the ground, and then walked into the entrance. Hee. This Uchiha kid is quite well educated. The implication of the 9 tails was that someone had no manners at all. Even if he had, he was just pretending. Naruto ignored the 9 tails, walked through the living room, entered the kitchen, and prepared to boil water for tea. Quote. Taking advantage of this gap, Seiko closed the door with her backhand, took off her shoes, and began to look at Naruto's house. TV, refrigerator, washing machine, air conditioner, all kinds of furniture are available. Through the large windows, you can see the snow outside. In other words, the modern decoration style of this house is in line with the location of the bustling center of Konoha. It's no big deal. When the electric kettle made a gurgling sound, Seiko finished comparing the differences between the Uchiha station and the residence in the center of Konoha. It looks exquisite, but it's like a pigeon cage. Living in such an environment will sooner or later become depressing. Thinking of the fact that every Uchiha family has a separate house with a courtyard, Seiko suddenly felt relieved. Snap! The kettle tripped. Naruto came out with Mito and made Seiko a cup of tea. Fresh jasmine tea leaves. You really know how to enjoy it. Seiko looked at the clear tea and the white petals blooming in it, and couldn't help but admire it. In fact, these tea leaves were given by Hinata's mother today. He picked up the teacup and took a sip. The aroma of the highest grade tribute tea melted in the mouth, making Zuozi feel a lot happier. Good tea, she praised secretly. I have never tasted such high quality tea. Where did Uzumaki Naruto get it from? Promise. Seiko reached out and pushed the gift on the table to Naruto. Happy New Year. Just when Seiko was about to say these congratulatory words, Naruto took the lead and blurted out a foreign language. New Year speed haha. Kyuubi. Zuozi. Naruto's shocking words immediately stunned Kyuubi and Seiko on the spot. No one can understand what this sentence means. In fact, there is such a thing as English in the Naruto world. For example, Kurabi's rap. Kurabi also used the English word brother when he called his adopted brother the fourth ray. English is widely used in various electrical appliance manuals. Although Naruto doesn't understand what the purpose is. Probably for patching. The Naruto TV animation production team created an original piece of Chunin exam content, and set one of the 9 major questions into an English question. In short, don't worry about the details. As long as you know that English is a must, that's it. What do you mean? Zuozi thought for a while, but didn't understand. After all, she hasn't learned English yet. English. No, this morning, when I was dreaming, a lot of English did come to my mind. New Year means New Year. Speed means speed and speed. What is haha? You couldn't not understand English. Naruto's brows furrowed slightly in the middle, and his eyes narrowed into slits. Don't use that expression. Seiko immediately slapped the table and stood up. She is the daughter of the dignified, evil-eyed Fugaku. Just some English words or something. Alas, I thought this boy was illiterate, but he actually stumped me. How can it be repaired? Later, under Naruto's explanation, Seiko understood that this sentence in English meant, Happy New Year. No need to explain so much. Zuozi waved his hand and immediately changed the subject. How was your New Year's Eve? I can't compare to you in English, and I can't compare to you in the new year. It's pretty good. There are a lot of people and it's very lively. We eat soba noodles, a big meal. Naruto tilted his head and looked sideways at the ceiling. The look of trying hard to think made Zuozi sigh. Mother said before that Uzumaki Naruto has no parents. Uzumaki Naruto, he lied to this extent just for his own pride. Seiko looked at Naruto with more and more pity. How can one have a good new year? It was really difficult for him. It's a good thing to have strong self-esteem, but don't be too strong. Seiko pushed the gift and said, "Sent to you, Happy New Year." After saying that, Zuozi stood up and left. Are you leaving? Naruto asked from behind. Well, I'm going home for dinner. Zuozi waved his hand without looking back. Naruto stood at the door and looked at Seiko who was coming down the stairs. Snowflakes continued to dance outside. Seiko, who has a family, is so normal, just like any other girl should be. Once she loses her parents and clan members, and everything is shattered, she will be twisted into an avenger. Even if the revenge is successful in the end, the body and mind will be shattered and become a walking undead. So, Naruto, I must save Seiko and save Uchiha. When Sako's figure disappeared, Naruto immediately turned to look at the dark alley across the street. Uchiha Itachi walked out and looked at Naruto expressionlessly. Then, he left here. The residence of the Uchiha clan. The clock struck 12 o'clock. It's time to eat. Seiko happily divided her chopsticks and cheered. Although her father is away, she is still working hard to maintain a happy atmosphere in the family. A sumptuous Chinese New Year lunch dispels the chill outside. After lunch was over and the dishes were cleared away, Seiko sat next to her brother. Elder brother. Her eyes were wide open and flickering. Do you know what New Year SPPED haha means? Quote. The proud look on his sister's face made Itachi frown slightly. After thinking for a moment, Itachi shook his head. It means, Happy New Year. Zuozi responded proudly. No, Happy New Year is, Happy New Year, not something. Itachi frowned even more. Where did his sister learn those poor and incorrect English sentences? Soon, he understood everything. Is it Naruto Uzumaki? Zuozi was a little surprised. Because she may not have thought that this sentence structure was wrong. The next moment, Itachi stretched out his right hand, touched his sister's head, and said earnestly, Zaozi, if you have any questions you don't understand, you can ask me later. Don't learn things randomly outside. Oh, Seiko, who was a little unsure, was still thinking about who was right and who was wrong between Naruto and his brother. At this time, Itachi was already quite dissatisfied with Naruto. After opening the Sharingan, his senses became much sharper. Insight has been enhanced to an unimaginable level. Although it only took half a day to open my eyes, the leap in my physical fitness was real. After all, he is the first genius since the founding of Konoha, so it is natural for him to have such expressive power after opening his eyes. He had clearly seen the darkness in the guiding Junin's heart. Then there was the childish innocence of another teammate. Then to Uzumaki Naruto. That Uzumaki Naruto was a child even though he was the same age as his sister. But there's more to him than meets the eye. At this time, Itachi remembered Shisui's evaluation of Uzumaki Naruto. Maybe it's time to find an opportunity to ask Shisui in detail. But that will have to wait until Shisui comes down from the battlefield. Afternoon. The weather is starting to get cooler. The sun was obscured by dark clouds, and the melting snow outside absorbed even more heat. This causes the snow water that should have completely evaporated to solidify into ice. The north wind is blowing. Mao Yuxian was hiding in the windshield on the top floor. She couldn't help but touch her shoulders, trying to warm herself up. At a certain moment, she suddenly thought of something. Half a month ago, the day she came into contact with Naruto, her head was dazed and her body was very hot. I stumbled home and had dinner with Hayate. Finally, I lay in the bathtub, my body was too hot. Even soaking in water couldn't dispel it. It wasn't until the end that I used Thunder Escape to practice myself. Under the mask, Xian's cheeks began to slowly turn red. The body seemed to warm up accordingly. His legs were rubbing slightly and his breathing was a little quick. She warned herself not to think too much. However, that time half a month ago, when she crossed the taboo of thunder escape practice, she couldn't stop having random thoughts in her mind. Until she found a figure slowly approaching Naruto's residence. It was a figure of a woman wearing linen clothes. This woman looks very down and out. Fleeing refugees. Mao Yuxian's first reaction was that people from the country of fire were coming to flee. Actually, before the new year, when Konoha sent a large number of ninjas to gather at the northeastern border of the Land of Fire, many people came to flee. Due to the influx of many people in Konoha, prices began to soar, and along with it, even Konoha's real estate began to soar. Under Shi Yan's gaze, the woman passed by the end of the commercial street where Naruto lived. And because of the new year, the shops on both sides of the road are generally not open. She was walking alone in the ice and snow, looking confused, as if she was looking for help. Mao Yuxian looked around and after confirming that no one could help her, she hesitated whether to show up. Technically, this was not part of her remit. What's more, what if she is disguised as an enemy? Protect the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Naruto's child is the most important thing. However, with Naruto's strength, he does not need to protect himself. Shion, who was in a hesitant mood, wavered. I don't know whether I should come forward or not. Snap. At this time, a door opened. It's Naruto. Naruto looked at Nanoyu, who was decorated in coarse clothes, and couldn't help but ask, "Auntie, you have been standing outside for a long time, do you need help?" Auntie." Nanoyu, who was dressed as a refugee, almost lost his temper. "Yes, I am getting old too. Genbu female spy, let Naruto break his defense in 1 second. Fortunately, she has excellent psychological quality. With her reputation as the strongest spy in the ninja world, she quickly adjusted her mood and nodded vigorously. Well, I escaped from the Land of Fire. I haven't eaten for several times. As he said that, Nanoyu began to shake. Seeing this, Naruto shook his head from side to side. That's just right. It's getting late. I've just prepared to make dinner. Auntie, if you don't mind, come in and have a meal together. Naruto extended his hand in invitation. Seeing the initial stage of completing the contact mission so easily, Nanoyu couldn't help but be shocked. But considering how easily children can be fooled, Nayu felt a sudden pain in his heart. I feel like my heart is being squeezed. A strong feeling of guilt seized her. She has deceived too many people, but they are basically ninjas from the enemy country. I specifically deceive children, even children from my own village. This is the first time. Nanoyu nodded, hiding all the things in his heart. With her excellent professional qualities, she played the role of the rescued very well. Seeing Nanoyu follow Naruto into the house, Mao Yuxian, who was standing by, couldn't help but feel anxious. If the opponent is really an enemy ninja, wouldn't Naruto be in danger? After all, even the Nine Tails Jinchuriki can easily be killed if he is undefended. Because the dangers of the ninja world are beyond the comprehension of a child. Shion could neither stand nor sit, and she continued to feel anxious in her heart. At a certain moment, she suddenly felt blessed. With an idea in mind, she decided to intervene as a visitor. Inside the house, Nanoyu sat on the chair next to the table, looking at the instant noodles in front of him in a daze. Naruto-kun, do you keep eating this? Through conversation, she learned Naruto's name. Yeah, instant noodles are delicious and nutritious. Naruto began to introduce the advantages of instant noodles. Convenience, easy digestion, appetite increase. Listening to Naruto's clear and logical analysis, Nanoyu thinks it seems quite reasonable. Of course, she actually knows that just eating instant noodles is not enough. That's great. However, as a refugee, it is natural to show the appearance of fleeing. In order to improve his acting skills, Nanoyu even deliberately starved for several days. In terms of the quality of a ninja, it doesn't matter if you don't eat for 3 days and 3 nights if you sit still. The instant noodles will take 3 minutes. After adding water to their instant noodles, Naruto clasped his hands together and began to wait in a very pious manner. Nanoyu, who once ran an orphanage and had seen many children of all kinds, certainly understood that this was a unique ritual for Naruto. I understand this, but what about the milk? Instant noodles plus milk, a perfect dark dish. Nanoyu didn't know that the fourth-generation Hokage's child would grow up like this. Didn't anyone teach him what real life should be like? Nanoyu, who suffered from an occupational disease, wanted to correct Naruto on the spot, but luckily she held back. So, she joined Naruto in waiting. Looking at Naruto with an innocent face, Nanoyu couldn't help but think of the orphanage thousands of miles away. I don't know if everyone in the orphanage is okay. Kemp, Aunt Kelly, and the older kids like Chi, will definitely take good care of everyone. Later, Nanoyu returned to the mission. The task given to her by Danzo was to contact Uzumaki Naruto. What to do next, even if Danzo didn't say it, she was familiar with it. Once the target's trust is gained, stealing intelligence, betrayal, or even backstabbing are all very common espionage behaviors. The nine-tailed Jinchuriki, he had no idea that he had entered the abyss of darkness. Those who are targeted by Danzo will definitely not end well. While Nanoyu was lost in thought, Naruto was also having a conversation with Kyuubi in his heart. This woman, I have an impression of her. Kyuubi stared at Nanoyu, who was dressed in coarse cloth. This dress cannot show her true charm. But the outlined figure, the iconic lower Z. Kyuubi's figure was still fresh in his memory. Oh, I remembered. Kyuubi opened his fox eyes wide. This woman was the chief of the Konoha medical class back then. Quote, at that time, Nono was only a few years younger than Kushina and Namikaze Minato. At a young age, he reached the position of leader of the medical class in his teens. In terms of medical technology, it is second only to a few humans such as Princess Tsunade. What's more important is that he was born very bad. Body. She is plump where she should be plump, and incredibly slim where she should be slim. It is hard to imagine that such a devilish figure would appear on the body of a well-trained ninja. If it wasn't genetically born this way. Kyuubi is saying that this human female must have been born with Z, otherwise how could it grow like this? No, Kyuubi, you must have recognized the wrong person. Naruto immediately shook his head. This aunt has said that she is a refugee from the country of fire. Because she usually takes care of the vegetable garden for everyone in the village, she was appointed as the dean by everyone. You must be older. Memory confusion. Kyuubi. Being fooled by Naruto's words, Kyuubi couldn't help but begin to doubt his own memory. Naruto. Well, Kyuubi, didn't you say that you have lived for 1,000 years? It is normal for the elderly to have memory problems. Kyuubi. Really? Arrived quickly in 3 minutes. Naruto picked up the chopsticks and said to the instant noodles, I'm going to start. Suck yo yo. Naruto and Nanoyu each enjoyed the most nutritious instant noodles dinner. After finishing eating, Nanoyu stood up and prepared to leave. When I settle down in Konoha and find a stable job, I will definitely come to your door in person to thank you for your kindness. No, Nayu bowed slightly, grateful for the meal. Easy to say, easy to say. Naruto kept nodding and pointed out the window. But look, Auntie Dean, it's already dark outside. Even if you go out, you won't have anywhere to stay, so why not stay at my house? No, Nayu. Just when Nanoyu was stunned and thinking about whether he should stay here, there was a sudden knock on the door outside. Knock knock knock. Naruto went to open the door. After opening the door, beautiful purple came into his eyes. Sister Shion. Happy New Year. Naruto, Happy New Year. Shion, who had changed into home clothes, stood at the door with a smile. Visiting as a friend is normal at this time of the new year. Are you having visitors at your house? Maoyu Shion looked inside and saw the refugee girl, as expected. Naruto immediately introduced the situation to Azuki Shion. No, Nayu tilted his head slightly, a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. Through the information given by Danzo before, she recognized the identity of Azuki Yugao Anbu Team's 6th member. The alternation of old and new. After leaving Konoha for such a long time, the people in the Anbu also changed a lot. Konoha has also become very different from what I remembered. Uoyuki Shion's eyes were full of vigilance, while no Nayu was carefully disguised. Invisible fireworks bloomed in the peaceful house and spread to every part of the room. There have been a lot of people fleeing recently, and the border is very unsettled. Shion walked in, her tone implying scrutiny. I remember that Konoha has a special rescue location. If you don't mind, I can help lead the way. In order to complete her protection mission perfectly, Shion asked Nanoyu to follow her with an unquestionable attitude. Living at Naruto's house, that is absolutely impossible. Thank you very much. Nanoyu bowed in greeting and planned to leave, obviously not intending to arouse Uoyuki Shion's further suspicion. Anbu and Gen often do not share information with each other. Sadly, often the root of the ninja knows better. Observing from the darkness, people standing in the light often don't know it. People say that Anbu represents the darkness of Konoha. In fact, they are wrong. The roots are the true darkness. Auntie Dean, here, drink it if you're thirsty. Before Nanoyu left, Naruto gave her another carton of milk. Holding a drink in his hand, Nanayu was in a very complicated mood. What a kind kid. Such a kind-hearted child is being used by Danzo. This made Nanoyu's guilt deepen again. However, if you don't do this, everyone at the orphanage, and Kabuto will. Naruto-kun, when I really settle down in Konoha and find a stable job, I will definitely come to tell the good news. Before leaving, Nanoyu looked back at Naruto and said words of gratitude for meeting again later. Naruto nodded vigorously. Yes. Then I wish you success in advance, Dean. Standing at the door, Naruto watched Azuki Shion, who was wearing fashionable winter clothes, taking Nono away. Small snowflakes were falling from the sky. After Nanoyu walked away, he couldn't help but look back. At the entrance door illuminated by dim light, Uzumaki Naruto's small figure is still watching over here. Kami-sama. Wave-like emotions surged up, and complex emotions filled Nanoyu's sensitive soul as a woman. If you really exist, please show a bright path. Nanoyu, who was once the director of an orphanage and a nun, initiated devout prayers to God for the first time in her heart. Started in medical class. Later, she joined Gen and became famous in the underground dark world with the title of Walking Witch. After voluntarily retiring, he ran an orphanage and became a clergyman. Finally, he was threatened by Danzo, demobilized again, and returned to his identity as a root ninja. Where can I go? Parents love their children, and gods love those who fear him, her, it. God knows how we came to be, and remembers that we are just dust that will dissipate in the blink of an eye. The years of the world are like green grass, and like flowers in the fields. They cease to exist when the breeze blows, and even the place where they grow is forgotten. Until the figures of Nono and Uezuki Shion completely disappeared into the snowy night. Naruto then turned around and closed the door. I think I already have an idea to save Hinata's mother. And the next plan to become stronger. Nunoyu, a medical ninja second only to Princess Tsunade, possesses powerful medical technology. The source of medical ninjutsu is yang release. The yang attribute is also one of the attributes that proves that he is the reincarnation of Asura chakra. Just like Seiko was born with yin attributes and can practice yin escape, he is the reincarnation of Indra chakra. Naruto admitted that he was not made to be a good medical ninja like Sakura. But Yang Dan does not require as much painstaking training as medical ninjutsu. Talent will determine the outcome of Yang Dan practice. As for the learning path, a suitable guide, who else is more suitable to guide myself than Nanoyu? The corner of Naruto's mouth curled up, and the image of Nanoyu's attack appeared in his mind again. Body, and Azuki Shion's outfit in a fashionable winter coat. On the wall of the entrance hall, the monster wakes up and casts a shadow. Naruto suppressed it and signaled it not to worry. Next, it may be Nunoyu, Azuki Shion, or Hinata Natsu. There will always be a way to let it out. A few days after the new year, Itachi spent the past few days at home. Because he was temporarily suspended from his job and had not yet made arrangements to form a new team, he has been idle at home. According to the instruction Chunin, the ninja school will welcome a new batch of graduates this year, and by then 2 new genin will join their team. Itachi was not looking forward to this, he just wanted to take the Chunin exam as soon as possible. However, the failure of the mission to escort the daimyo turned his ambition to take the Chunin exam this year into nothing. Do I have to wait until next year? Again, Itachi felt anxious again and suppressed his unhappiness with force. The only thing worth celebrating is the progress my sister has made in the past few days. It can be described as unbelievable. Drink. In the grove, there are 8 targets erected. This is a place located in a clan gathering place. Itachi always used to come here to practice. At his sister's request, he took his sister to this secret training place that only his parents and Shisui knew. The younger sister let out a clear drink and flew up. Between the fingers of the left hand and the right hand, there are 4 shurikens each. As the 8 shurikens were thrown, they made a sound of breaking through the air, and finally each of them hit their target. Tuck tuck tuck. The shurikens penetrated the wooden targets and all hit the red heart. Itachi couldn't help but be surprised, amazed by his sister's progress. After a brief moment of surprise, he thought happily. As expected of, my sister. What's up, brother? Zuozi, who has just landed, seems to have grown very fast after the new year, not only in terms of skills, but also seems to have grown taller. Looking at his younger sister who was becoming more and more adorable, Itachi felt that she was the most precious treasure in the world. She is obviously a girl, but her motor skills are very strong. Probably more than many boys. He is also very smart mentally, and he has already begun to read books that can only be read in the later stages of Genin. And for her, that knowledge can be learned by reading it once. Reading is not a difficult task for her. How to say it? During this time, Zuozi seemed to have suddenly enlightened, and everything was growing at an incredible speed. 9 points. Itachi gave his sister a high score close to full marks. There is only 1 point left. I don't want you to be proud of it. Just when Seiko made a cute questioning tone. The sound of heavy footsteps came closer and closer. Father. Itachi turned around and judged the identity of the person through his familiar steps. Dad. Zuozi immediately softened her attitude. She was always a little reserved when facing her unsmiling father. Uchiha Fugaku, who suddenly returned from the battlefield, didn't look very good. After all, just when he was about to make a meritorious service, he was suddenly called back by the top management of Konoha. No one would be in a good mood. And the reason is actually to hide one's clumsiness, confuse the enemy, and not make the opponent anxious all at once. In fact, Fugaku knew very well that the higher-ups in Konoha did not want their Uchiha to make contributions and improve their situation. Now, the 4th generation sacrificed, Orochimaru defected, and the 3rd generation grew old. If the Uchiha developed normally and wanted to rise, they would be unstoppable. The higher-ups were afraid of this, so they didn't want Uchiha to reverse the situation, and even sacrifice the lives of more grassroots ninjas to prolong the border conflict that should have ended quickly. When I returned to the village, Lord Hokage summoned me and told me about you. Fugaku glanced at his daughter and then at his eldest son. Itachi, recommended by high-level officials, we decided to let you participate in next year's Chunin exam. But this time, you will not participate in a group of 3, but alone. Quote. Alone. Compared to other candidates who are in groups of 3, you are obviously placed in an unfair and harsh environment. However, Itachi understood. This is tempering and a review of one's abilities. Once he breaks through the siege and becomes a Chunin alone, he will become the strongest candidate since the founding of Konoha. Thank you very much. Because of being too excited, Itachi's words were slightly interrupted. Countless frustrated days and nights, looking forward to taking the Chunin exam. Now the dream has finally come true. Brother, congratulations. Seiko smiled happily. She was happy for her brother from the bottom of her heart. Itachi. Seiko. For her younger sister who has not yet entered the ninja school, her older brother has already taken a very important step in her life. Because usually, becoming a Chunin, and obtaining this position with greater power is the real beginning of ninja life for the strong. Dad, I will grow up as soon as possible and follow in my brother's footsteps. Seiko excitedly told her father her wish. However, her hopes did not receive a positive response. Father snorted indifferently. The obvious coping attitude instantly extinguished Zuozi's enthusiasm. Staring at his father's back who turned to leave, Itachi suddenly felt unhappy. His father, who came from an old-fashioned background, upheld strict family upbringing. Even Lord Hokage praised the education of the Fugaku family. However, such a traditional family means priority to sons over daughters. Because my sister is a girl, I feel that it doesn't matter. I think that when she grows up, she will only be able to support her husband and raise children, so she doesn't understand her sister's feelings. Seiko. Itachi turned around and looked at his depressed sister. The next second, Seiko forced herself to cheer up and smiled. It's okay, brother, I will work harder until my father recognizes me. This smile of his sister made Itachi feel a little painful in his heart. Adults who only think about themselves. This scene is mixed with the scenes of Yashara, Anahime, Tiehuo, when they visited their father. At the secret meeting, the extremists of Uchiha expressed their dissatisfaction with the village. All of this. What will the future of Uchiha be? Such people. Itachi thought of Shisui's efforts again, always making himself so tired and serving the tribe with all his heart. But will the tribe really understand Shisui's ideas? Shaking his head, he dispelled these thoughts. I don't know if it's an illusion, but after opening my eyes, some of my thoughts have become more and more profound. Seiko, it's getting late, let's go home for dinner. Itachi touched his sister's head, and then went home together. The next morning, Seiko, who was half asleep and half awake, moved her body slightly. The Great Fireball technique is a C-level ninjutsu. C-level represents the level of ninjutsu, and is usually linked to power. Because there will be no fool who invents an S-level ninjutsu that only has the power of a ninja school student. She murmured various ninjutsu knowledge and slowly stood up. At this time, Seiko was still in an unconscious state. She stood up in her pajamas and walked towards the bathroom with slow steps. Dong! Ouch! Seiko was much more awake until she bumped her head against the door. Recently, I have been confused for longer and longer when I got up. It's low blood pressure. C-level fire escape also includes the dragon fire technique. While mumbling, the knowledge that emerged in her mind came out again. Seiko immediately shook her head vigorously. She knew her recent changes better than anyone else. Generally speaking, they were all good, so Seiko gave up the idea of going to Konoha Hospital for a physical examination. After washing up, Seiko came to the living room and did not see her brother. My brother must be working hard to prepare for the Chunin exam. Seiko thought. So she didn't plan to bother her brother. After breakfast, Seiko went out immediately. She ran on the roofs and streets. With incredible agility, she drew a swift shadow. At this moment, she felt the release of herself, running freely to show the joy of growth. Soon, Seiko landed in front of the bookstore with a steady posture. Very good. Today's morning run has increased the speed by a few points. If I continue like this, I will definitely get the first place when I go to the ninja school and take the entrance test in the future. Seiko smiled and imagined a bright future. She opened the door and walked into the bookstore. The books full of books did not dazzle her eyes. Among the countless books, Seiko quickly found the subject she wanted. Chunin Exam Guide. Seiko took out this thick book and opened it. It recorded the contents of all the Chunin exams since the founding of Konoha. Of course, confidential content will not appear on it. This book is an encyclopedia compiled from the perspective of an enthusiast, in addition to interviews with other civilians and participating ninjas. Seiko quickly flipped through the book, and after a rough glance, she knew that this was the book she wanted. After paying and walking out of the bookstore, Seiko sat down on a bench next to the small park and began to read the book carefully. There is a 90% probability that the Chunin exam will be jointly held by allied countries. There is a 10% probability that it will only be held within the village due to factors such as war. This probability also includes the possibility of enemy ninjas coming to participate in the Chunin exam. This year, there was a war between Kumogakure and Konoha, which means that the possibility of enemy ninjas such as Kumogakure coming to participate in the Chunin exam can basically be ruled out. As Konoha's allies, the Sand Village, the Rain Village, the Long Village, the Grass Village and other ninja villages may come. The first round is usually a written test. The second round is an actual battle. If the remaining number of people is enough, there will be a third match, and the venue will be the Konoha Stadium. Konoha Stadium, the circular arena. Snap. Seiko closed the book, and her peripheral vision had already caught a glimpse of a guy. Naruto was seen with his hands in his jacket pockets, his eyes narrowed into a line, and he was walking arrogantly with a step that didn't recognize any relatives. No matter how you look at it, he looks like a second-rate guy or a middle school boy. It must be a middle school boy. Seiko complained silently in her heart. With the IQ of this idiot Uzumaki Naruto, he can only be said as a middle school boy. Hey, Uzumaki Naruto. Seiko stopped Naruto. Huh. Naruto turned his head. The sun shone down from the sky, and the sunlight made Naruto's goggles hanging around his neck sparkle. And this pair of windproof and waterproof goggles was the New Year's gift that Seiko gave to Naruto during the New Year. At this moment, the reflection of the goggles shone into Sako's eyes. Dazzling. Seiko waved her hand vigorously, asking Naruto to turn around. Naruto thought for a moment and obeyed. Such a silly look. Zuozi murmured in his heart again. Then, she stood up and walked towards Naruto. Hey, Uzumaki Naruto, I have something good going on here recently. When the time comes, do you want to watch the Chunin examination together? Quote. Sako's lovely face was filled with pride, happiness, youthfulness and beauty, shining in the sun. Naruto refused without any hesitation. No. Seiko. Huh. What I thought would be a direct success. Oh, no. What reason does Uzumaki Naruto have for obeying his orders? I have nothing to do with him. Even if I gave him a New Year's gift. Zuozi's thoughts quickly turned a few corners, and suddenly he found that he could not find a suitable reason. No. There are still some. If you go with me to watch the Chunin examination held in our village next week, well, I will be your friend. Quote. After Zuozi said this, she saw Naruto's stupid expression brightening visibly. Naruto, whose sky blue eyes began to shine, nodded vigorously, okay. Then it's done. Zuozi thought to himself, as expected, this guy doesn't have many friends. Also, when I always pass by the small park, I really don't see other people of the same age playing with Uzumaki Naruto. Soon, Seiko told Naruto the details related to the Chunin examination. The first part of the Chunin examination is a written test. The second game is actual combat. The audience, that is, the two of them will go to the Konoha venue to watch the third game. A large part of the reason was Zuozi's selfish motives. Because her brother will take part in this Chunin exam. It would be great to see my brother's heroic performance. Hey, do you two want to play games with us? At this moment, a lazy voice sounded from near behind. Seiko turned his head, and his satisfied expression turned cold for a second. Of course, in Naruto's eyes, he was arrogant. Seiko. I refuse. Naruto. Well, the pineapple-headed boy of the same age scratched his head and furrowed his eyebrows together, seeming a little distressed. The plump little chubby man next to him who kept stuffing snacks into his mouth looked just like Naruto, silly, by Sako's comment. How could an arrogant Uchiha just play with others casually? Snort. Zuozi put the book under his arm, put his hands in his pockets, and slowly left, leaving a proud figure behind for several peers. Although these Uchiha are all beautiful, their tempers are weirder than the last. The pineapple scratched his head again and then looked at Naruto. Hey, what about you? Are you the same as that guy? By the way, is that guy a boy or a girl? Finally, not bothering with the issue, he withdrew his gaze and introduced himself to Naruto. Hello, my name is Nara Shikamaru. He is Akamichi Choji. What about you, the guy with yellow hair? My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you, Shikamaru, Choji. Haha. Naruto smiled stupidly again, looking like a not-so-smart Akko. Choji. Hangcha, do you want some snacks? The gears of fate continue to turn. Naruto thought to himself that he had met other Xiao Chang again. After Seiko, Tenten, Hinata, and Neji, now I have met Shikamaru and Choji. Among 12 Xiaoqiang, only Sakura, Ino, Xiaoli, Shino, and Kiba are the ones I don't know. Shikamaru, he looks stupid. Choji reminded him that this yellow guy is not very smart. Yeah, no problem. Shikamaru showed an inclusive smile. Akamaru, let's go. Woof woof. At this moment, a young man with a puppy on his head and two small tiger teeth exposed ran across the small park at a fast pace on all four limbs. Another idiot. Choji looked at Inuzuka Kiba, who was also not very smart, and said again. Naruto played with Shikamaru and other little friends from noon until dusk. Everyone kicked the can, played on the swings, climbed trees, which made up for the lack of childhood. Goodbye, I'm going home. At dusk, the sunset shines brightly. The parents of Shikamaru and others came to pick up their children. That's not. Nara Shikaku glanced at Naruto, surprise flashing in his eyes. The parents of other children also looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. Uzumaki Naruto, the Yondaime's child, has he met his own child? They should inquire carefully about this matter when they return. After everyone leaves, Naruto stood alone in the park, the sunset lengthened his shadow, and he no longer smiled. Oh, Kyuubi yawned. So what if I don't have a father or a mother? There are many orphans in the orphanage who don't have parents. Just when it was about to continue to comfort Naruto to be strong, Kyuubi suddenly thought of something else. So it immediately laughed out loud. Ha, his father and mother were killed by me, it was me. Single quote. Kyuubi gets a new hell joke. Of course, the masked Uchiha was also one of the murderers. Kyuubi, who could no longer comfort Naruto, could only continue to hold his face with his paws and close his eyes to rest. Many things in this world are jokes, and they are jokes from hell. Surviving in this ninja world full of hatred and hatred has never been an easy thing. At that time, the old man of 6 paths tried to let everyone connect chakra to each other so as to know each other's thoughts and finally achieve spiritual communication. That is, mutual understanding. But the old man Lu Dao failed in the end, because the chain of hatred cannot be solved so easily. In the end, the ninja world became what it is now. Quote. Naruto's naive expression quickly calmed down, and then changed from expressionless to smiling. I met a lot of new friends today, it's really great. You can't be considered friends if you only meet once, not even fair weather friends. Kyuubi complained. No, Kyuubi, you don't understand. Ours is a pure childhood friendship. This is a good start. More and more people recognize me. One day, everyone will recognize me. At that time, I will become the hero of Konoha, and the 7th Hokage. Naruto laughed out loud. Why the 7th generation? Kyuubi didn't understand. Isn't it okay for the 6th generation? But as this guy said, more and more people admit that he has been deceived. This is not good, Kyuubi thought, because when Naruto Uzumaki is cut open, he is actually black. Once he becomes the hero of Konoha village, or even the Hokage, I don't know what the village will become at that time. Whatever, it will be over when human society is over anyway. Kyuubi simply decided to just lie down, swing, and mix, and be a fun beast. Respect the fate of others, respect the fate of the country, and even the ninja world. Not long after, Naruto returned home. The setting sun almost sank into the horizon, and night fell quietly. At the door of his home, Naruto met 2 figures who came to visit. One is Azuki Shion in fashionable winter clothes, and the other is Nanoyu in nun uniform. Nanoyu, who put on new clothes, exuded the brilliance of motherhood and holiness. Underneath that gentle expression, there is a lower Z that does not match the divine face. Body. Just like the angels are above and the devil is below. It seems to symbolize that if people in the world think about heaven, they will go to hell if they think wrongly. Quote. Naruto squinted his eyes and kept scanning Nanoyu. A man is what he wears, as the saying goes, it is indeed true. After only a few days of not seeing each other, this nun suddenly transformed into a priest. Naruto. Azuki Shion happily introduced Naruto to Nanoyu's current situation. She found a new job, and it was a job at the Konoha orphanage. Those who can take on this responsibility and take care of children, without exception, have extremely clean backgrounds. This also allowed her to gain Maoyu Shion's trust. After all, people who have passed the village's political review can have any bad intentions. Shi Yan's attitude became much more enthusiastic. I now joined the orphanage and became a staff member to take care of the children. Nanoyu added with a smile. But as she told the lies, she felt more and more painful. Because in her opinion, deceiving Naruto, a kind-hearted child, was really a sin. Kami-sama, please forgive my sins. That's great. Naruto smiled widely, and his expression of genuine concern for Nono made Nono feel ashamed. And then, she would use the work of the orphanage as a cover to continue to contact Naruto and take action. When I was very young, I also lived in an orphanage. Naruto scratched his head, and his expression became shy. The so-called very young was only 2 years ago. I miss that place too, I will visit it when I have time. Quote. In Nano's opinion, Naruto was completely useless. Without her guidance, this child would automatically run into the muzzle of the gun. Ms. Nono. After all, Azuki Yugao is an Anbu. It is impossible for a person to never reveal flaws. Having been a spy for many years, Nano's heart has long been riddled with holes. She had seen many of her colleagues go crazy, surrender to the enemy, and even commit suicide because they couldn't get over the psychological barrier. She was tired, really too tired. Oh, I was thinking, when Naruto-kun comes, how should I entertain him? Nono smiled professionally for a second, and the flaw of a moment disappeared in the next moment. After a few more pleasantries, Nono said that she had to go back to take care of the children, so she wouldn't bother her anymore. Azuki Yugao accompanied her and left. Naruto stood at the door, his eyes constantly staring at Nono in her nun's clothes. And, the lower body wrapped in the nun's clothes. The entrance to Konoha. With the shouts of the ninjas on duty, the city gate was about to close. At this time, the appearance of a team of people delayed the closing of the city gate by a second. When they entered collectively, he couldn't help but wipe the sweat from his forehead, fortunately, caught up. The 7 ninjas were wearing blue ninja uniforms, and their teeth were generally as sharp as sharks. This team obviously did not belong to Konoha, so it naturally aroused the vigilance of all Konoha guard ninjas. Fortunately, the Hokage had already greeted them in advance, so they did not have any absolute hostility towards these arrivals. The invitation letter for the Chunin exam issued by Konoha had no hope of getting a reply. After all, the other party's village has been closed off for many years and has never communicated with other villages, which has made the ninja village on the other side of the sea more mysterious. In addition, they always send people to harass the border and have been enemies with Konoha for many years. No one thinks they will really accept the invitation. 6 genin, 1 jonin leading the team. The Konoha ninja who looked at the invitation letter couldn't help but nodded. It has the handwriting and official seal of the 4th Mizukage. In other words, the team in front of them was indeed sent by the Hidden Mist village to participate in the Chunin exam. This was a good start and a major diplomatic breakthrough. Friends from Kurigakure, please come with us. Accommodation was immediately arranged, and the figures of the 7 Kurigakure ninjas gradually disappeared. Chapter 51. Report this to Lord Hokage immediately. With the previous experience of the false alliance of Kumogakure, the people present are not fools. They will do all the defense and surveillance work and not give the other party any chance to find it. Besides, there are only 6 genin and 1 jonin in the Kurigakure ninjas who come to take the exam. Such a combination can't cause any trouble at all. However, no one knows that the Kurigakure team has been mixed with Akatsuki ninjas. That night, the Kurigakure village was arranged to stay. This place is located on the edge of Konoha, surrounded by woods. The buildings here are separated from Konoha by obvious partitions. The intention is very obvious, both to protect these foreign guests and to prevent them from making trouble. The Konoha Anbu are all around. The winter night is quiet. And in this seemingly quiet environment, some unknown plans are being staged. I never thought about going back to that bloody village, and I don't plan to work with you, but the leader's order cannot be disobeyed. The moment he took off his hat, the 6 surrounding Kurigakure ninjas developed strong hostility towards their companions. The man who spoke looked to be in his 30s. He had a head of light black hair, and his upper face without eyebrows was very conspicuous. But what was even more eye-catching was the bandages wrapped around his ears and neck. And what looked like red stripes were actually scars all over his mouth. The shark-like sharp teeth proved that he had the bloodline of the land of water. He would naturally have 1,000 connections with Kurigakure. Loquat, Juzo, someone whispered the name of the traitor. The 7 ninja swordsmen of Kurigakure, the holder of the beheading sword, but also a traitor to the village. The name of the 7 indicates that he is one of the 7 strongest people under the Mizukage. The knife he holds is also the treasure that every Kurigakure ninja is jealous of. There are 7 such knives. It is such a guy who has left the village and become a rebel ninja hunted by everyone in Kurigakure. The drama is, even if I join that organization Akatsuki, I will still have to say hello to you guys in the end. Biwa Juzo jokingly said the drama of his fate. Is this the fate of Kurigakure ninja? Even if it seems to be out of the bloody mist, you still have to deal with it in the end. For this mission, the boss of Akatsuki, Pain, assigned the mission to himself. It is not a pleasant thing to meet colleagues from the old hometown. Juzo, when are you going to act? One person asked in an unfriendly tone. Juzo is bound by the mysterious organization he belongs to. The 6 Kurigakure ninjas are also bound by the Mizukage. The order issued by the Mizukage is to take this opportunity to steal the confidential documents of Konoha. After all, Konoha and Kumogakure have already fought at the border, so there will definitely be gaps in their defense. After getting the confidential documents, they will find a way to leave Konoha and hand them over to the Code Squad. The Code Squad will be escorted by a special person until they return to Kurigakure. Don't worry. Facing the hostility of his former colleagues, Juzo remained calm. Even if several of these 6 guys are disguised as genin, they will have made some progress over the years and even become the elite among the jonin. They can't be his opponents. This is the confidence of the 7 ninja swordsmen, the masters standing at the top of Kurigakure. Do you think that if you act directly, the guys in Konoha will not notice it? What do you mean? Looking at the performance of his fellow villagers, Juzo shook his head in his heart. Unlike the Kurigakure ninjas who know nothing, being in the Akatsuki organization, he can get more information. Including the specific reasons why Kumogakure and Konoha went to war, all were reported by White Zetsu. With the previous experience of those guys in Kumogakure, Konoha will not make the same mistake again. So the action plan must be carefully thought out. Follow the steps, participate in this Chunin exam normally, wait for the opportunity, lurk. Juzo signaled the 6 people not to rush. In fact, he was also responsible for another top-secret mission. This was conveyed to the Akatsuki organization by the 4th generation Mizukage Yagura alone. Yagura asked Akatsuki to capture the daughter of Fugaku, a little kid named Uchiha Seiko. Stealing Konoha's secrets is just a trick. Really greedy. Juzo thought to himself. In the 3rd Shinobi World War, the Hidden Mist village had already obtained a Byakugan from the Hyuga clan. Now they don't even let go of the Sharingan. Of course, such a little kid must not have opened his eyes yet. After all, the intelligence shows that the kid hasn't even entered the ninja school yet. So, do you want to conduct human research, or even raise blood? As for why it's not just any Uchiha, of course it's because Uchiha Fugaku is the strongest among all the Uchiha ninjas today. Theory of bloodline, inheritance of blood DNA and inheritance of talent. Uchiha Fugaku's daughter is the best material. When the name, Evil Eye Fugaku, is mentioned, all ninjas from enemy countries are terrified. During the time when Uchiha Fugaku led the Uchiha clan, he never lost the Sharingan. Obtaining that kind of eye is something that no country can do. That's why Mizukage Yagura asked the Rongai organization. Akatsuki. Only Akatsuki can complete this highest level, impossible task. Thinking of taking his daughter away now, Juzo felt a shudder. Excited, long-lost blood surged up. After joining the Akatsuki organization, how long has it been since he fought against a strong man? Anyway, I'll take care of everything. Juzo took out a strange broken sword from under his wide robe. It looked like a blade with a very long handle. Seeing this broken blade, greed flashed in the eyes of the 6 people present, and then turned into awe. The beheading sword has the ability to regenerate. As long as it cuts 1 or 2 people and sucks their blood, it can be restored to a total length of 2.1 meters. At the same time, the Uchiha clan's residence. In order to prepare for the Chunin exam, Itachi practiced until very late. He planned to continue in this posture until the start of the Chunin exam 3 days later. Seeing that it was getting late, Itachi prepared to go back to rest. Itachi. Just then, a familiar voice stopped Itachi. Shisui appeared from the bushes, looking dusty, and it was obvious that he had just withdrawn from the battlefield. Shisui. Seeing his friend return, Itachi felt a lot more relaxed. Because he needed his friend's help with many things. How is the situation on the battlefield? The two chatted as they walked back. It's okay. Itachi could see that a layer of haze appeared in Shisui's eyes. Uncle Fugaku was transferred back by the Konoha high-level officials, and now it's my turn. It's obvious that the Konoha high-level officials are afraid that the Uchiha clan will be too powerful. That's why he played these little tricks. Hokage-sama, do you know the inside story of this matter? Itachi asked after a while. No, Shisui shook his head and made a guess. It must be Danzo's doing. Hokage-sama is innocent, and the fault is the treacherous villains and so on. Anyway, I will try my best to ask Hokage-sama to let me and Uncle Fugaku return to the battlefield as soon as possible. As he said that, Shisui touched Itachi's head. And Itachi quickly moved away. I'm not a child anymore. I know, Shisui nodded, and there was something rare in his tone. I heard about what happened to your teammates. My condolences. Nothing. Itachi shook his head. So, Shisui asked tentatively, have you opened your eyes? Yeah, Itachi nodded. And that must have been a very painful experience. Shisui felt the same way. However, Itachi was not in pain because of the death of his teammates, but just hated himself for being powerless at that time. Then, from today on, you are a real Uchiha. The corners of Shisui's lips curled up into a pleased smile. Awakening the Sharingan is the true beginning of an Uchiha. Shisui, I will take the Chunin exam in 3 days. Itachi reported the good news. Really? Shisui looked surprised after hearing this. No wonder, your mentor Junin. Itachi. No, he didn't know that I opened the Sharingan. I didn't tell anyone except you. Quote. Shisui scratched his head. Father said. Danzo Shimura suggested it. The moment Itachi said these words, Shisui stopped. What's wrong? Quote. Shisui was silent for a long time, and finally said to Itachi in a serious voice. Itachi, you have to be careful and stay away from that man. He represents the darkness of the village. If you want to become Hokage, you don't need to be exposed to those things. I see, Itachi replied briefly. By the way, Shisui, I have one more thing to ask you, it's about that Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto, the figure that wreaked havoc in the forest last time suddenly appeared in Jisui's mind. The other party's performance left a deep impression on him. What's wrong with him? My sister has gotten very close to him recently and seems to have become a friend. Shisui heard Itachi's anxiety from his narration. Although he doesn't have a sister, Shisui thinks. Perhaps, this is, the cabbage raised by one's own hands was swallowed by the pig. Ha, Shisui, who couldn't help but laugh, shook his head. You already have a girlfriend. He was referring to Izumi Uchiha, who was from the same clan. Your sister is also qualified to pursue her own happiness. Well, even though Seiko is still just a kid. But Itachi and Uchiha Izumi are not big either. The two had been flirting with each other since they were at the ninja school. Itachi wasn't much older than Seiko at that time. It's not like that. Itachi looked over suddenly, and his suddenly raised tone made Shisui startled. Feel sorry. Itachi realized that he had lost his temper and quickly calmed down. Shisui was stunned for a moment and couldn't help but sigh. Itachi, when Uchiha is emotional, the Sharingan will be opened. Shisui signaled to Itachi, you really care about your sister too much. Itachi, who felt his eyes burning, realized that he had opened the Sharingan unintentionally. The scarlet eyes exuded a strange color in the night. After a few seconds, it slowly disappeared. Shisui, I mean, that Uzumaki Naruto, he may not be as innocent as he seems. I don't know why, I just have this feeling. So, for in case I made a misjudgment due to personal subjective feelings, I want you to help me observe what kind of person that Uzumaki Naruto is. Only in this way can he confirm whether his sister can continue to play with him. You are a little too controlling. Shisui originally wanted to say this, but considering Itachi's responsibilities as an elder brother, he was not 100% able to understand and empathize with him, so. Okay, I'll help you see him clearly. Just use these eyes. Shisui's eyes were stained with red, and the three Magatama spun and condensed, finally turning into a strange four-cornered shuriken shape. Looking at his friend's Mangekyo Sharingan, Itachi felt dazzled. The next morning, the entrance to Konoha welcomed all kinds of travelers. These outsiders dress in different styles, and they are not refugees from the Fire Nation. You can tell they are from different ninja villages just by looking at their forehead protectors. The invitation letter sent by Konoha to the Chunin exam attracted ninjas from many countries. Most of them are Konoha's allies, such as Sunagakur Village, Omegakure Village, Longakur Village, etc. At the moment when Konoha and Kumogakure are in conflict, the Chunin examination is still held publicly. The purpose of this is nothing more than to tell other countries. Konoha is still strong, and even if there is a war on one side, it still has the power to maintain everything. This is also a warning to countries with bad intentions to restrain themselves from unnecessary thoughts. Early in the morning, Naruto was walking on the road and passed by arrogantly. When he walked to the door of the paint shop, Naruto took out 2 coins. "Boss, here are 2 buckets of paint." "Kyuubi, are you planning to drink paint early in the morning?" Kyuubi, who couldn't help but complain, didn't understand. In fact, Naruto suddenly remembered that he still had not achieved the achievement of Prank Master. If it weren't for pranks, would it still be called the protagonist? The owner of the paint store looked at the 2 coins in his hand, raised his head again, and stared at Naruto in shock, with a look of disbelief on his face. "Did you give too much? It's okay. No need to look for it." Naruto waved his hand proudly, indicating that there was no need to change the $2. Naruto then picked up a bucket of paint and a brush and ran away. By the time the boss reacted, Naruto had already disappeared. And all these behaviors were monitored in all directions by 2 secret observers. Shion, who has long flowing hair and is dressed in Anbu attire, is naturally fulfilling her duties as a protector. What surprised her was that the famous Shunshin Shisui seemed to be observing Naruto too. As Naruto left, Uchiha Shisui immediately chased after him. This aggravated Shi Yan's suspicion. Uzumaki Naruto is a demon fox. This is something that almost everyone in Konoha knows. But only a few people know that Naruto is the vessel of the 9 tails, and the son of the 4th generation. Uchiha Shisui, as a new generation ninja of a similar age to himself, should not know Naruto's real information. Because it was only after he joined the Anbu that he learned a series of Konoha's internal secrets. However, considering Shunshin Shisui's current reputation, it is also very reasonable to speculate that the older generation of Uchiha will tell him about Naruto. Assuming Shunshin Shisui knows Naruto's true nature, what does he want to do? Yugao couldn't help but think of the rumor that it was Uchiha who attracted the Kyuubi. It is said to be a rumor, but in fact it is not a simple inference of guilt. After all the Anbu who were guarding the birth of Mrs. Yondaime Hokage were wiped out, the couple also died, and Lady Bawako, Sarutobi Hiruzen's wife who was responsible for delivering the baby, was also poisoned. No one knows the details of that night's production. But what can be confirmed is, Lady Bawako and her disciple Shechi were both killed by people. The autopsy report afterwards proved that the wounds and fatal factors on both of them did not come from Kyuubi. Although the higher-ups behind him were tight-lipped about this, there was no doubt about their attitude towards Uchiha. Including having the Uchiha clan relocated to the edge of the village, there are even hidden cameras in the village to monitor the Uchiha 24 hours a day. It can be said that Konoha's top management no longer trusts Uchiha at all. If Shunshin Shisui wants to control Naruto, thinking of Uchiha Shisui's reputation as being very good at illusions, Shiyan felt shuddering. Snap! At this moment, a hand was placed on Shiyan's shoulder. Shiyan, who was thinking, almost reflexively pulled out the kunai and waved it over. However, her wrist was grabbed. Shiyan, it's not okay to lose focus when performing a mission. Blast! Seeing her childhood sweetheart returning, Shiyan's nose felt sore and she was almost in tears. The smiling young man in front of her was a close person whom she had not seen for many days and could not even be reunited in the new year. Moonlight Hayate looked past Ome, and then looked at Naruto's retreating figure. Is your mission okay? Is there anything about this kid that worries you? No, not Naruto. Shiyan shook his head, and then pointed out to Hayate Uchiha Shisui who was following behind. Yu Guangfang, who returned from the battlefield, couldn't wait to come to Shiyan to express the pain of parting as soon as he returned to the village. And when he saw the figure that Shunshin Shisui was following as Shiyan pointed out, he couldn't help but be stunned. As he holds an important position in the reconnaissance squad and is trusted by Konoha's top brass, he naturally knows everything about Naruto. After realizing the cause, consequences and seriousness of the problem, Hayate immediately nodded. Shiyan, let me help you keep an eye on Shunshin Shisui. You can report this matter. The safety of the Nine Tails Jinchuriki will affect the safety of the village, and disaster must not be allowed to happen again. Okay. Shi Yan, who completely trusted her childhood sweetheart, immediately flew away. Through escape, Moonlight Gale raised his hand and formed a seal. The body blurred for a while and disappeared into the air in an instant. The transparent shadow left the building and quickly approached Uchiha Shisui. Call. The wind blows. Uchiha Shisui stopped and looked around, but found nothing. Naruto carried the bucket and quickly selected the first target. Hokage Rock. This landscape of Konoha is an object of admiration for people. It is also a scenic spot in Konoha. The faces of past Hokages will be engraved on it. Now, there are 4 faces on it, which also shows that there are 4 Hokages in Konoha. Climbing is not an easy task. Naruto suddenly remembered that he seemed to have not yet practiced the practice of stepping on trees and water. It's not a big problem. In line with the principle that great force can produce miracles, Naruto closed his eyes, and when he opened them, they had turned into scarlet vertical pupils. Naruto, whose physical strength and chakra surged, easily jumped up, stepped over the roof, and quickly climbed along the rock. The sharp claws easily grasped the angular stone wall, and finally, under the incredible eyes of Uchiha Shisui and Moonlight Hayate, they quickly climbed to the top. Uchiha Shisui. This. Once again shocked by the power of the Nine Tails, he discovered that the power of the nine-tailed demon fox was far more powerful than imagined. Naruto, who reached the top, looked down at the earth. The entire Konoha can be seen. One day, I, Naruto Uzumaki, will be here at the Getsuga sky. Thinking of this, Naruto started his homework. The faces of several Hokages were painted with paint. The first Memon Rock. It must be black when cut. Nadememewa. It looks very sinister. The third Memon Iwa. Old man. The fourth Memon Rock. Second. Kyubi. Well written. Kyubi, who rarely expressed his approval, was very satisfied with Naruto's operation. But such a harmonious scene, in Jisui's eyes, was a completely different scene. The Hokage Rock is sacred and inviolable. It is the highest cultural heritage and image endorsement of Konoha. Naruto's blasphemous behavior made him have a natural dislike for Naruto. And this disgust was also clearly observed by Hayate. In an instant, Hayate understood. Shunshin Shisui harbors ill intentions toward the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. And then infer, Uchiha may want to use Kyubi again. They want to rebel. Hokage's office. Sarutobi Hiruzen is reading today's latest frontline battle report. On the first day of the new year, the two sides engaged in the first round of large-scale fighting, leaving many bodies behind. The scale of the conflict began to shift to a battle of wits and courage, and to exchange less for more as much as possible. This proves that Union Village does not want too many casualties, thus giving other villages an opportunity. After all, back then, 10,000 ninjas from Iwagakure attacked Kumogakure, and after the Sandaime Raikage was defeated, it was a lose-lose situation. The border war is no longer anxious, which fully illustrates Kumogakure's concerns. If this continues, the problem of the lack of war literacy among ninjas in peacetime can be sharpened. In the long run, it's not a bad thing. But I still hope that the war will end soon. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought. After the Chunin examination is completed, let's find a way to end the border conflict. Hokage-sama. Shi Yan's figure suddenly appeared in the office. She immediately reported that Shunshin Shisui was following Naruto. Sarutobi Hiruzen was slightly stunned, not considering that Uchiha wanted to use the Kyubi. He didn't think deeply until Shi Yan expressed his guess. Next, if Danzo, who has always been hostile to Uchiha, finds out about this, he will definitely make a fuss about it, and then the situation of the Uchiha clan will be in danger. But if it is true as Danzo said, it was Uchiha who murdered the Yondaime and his wife back then. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who fell into hesitation, remained silent for a long time. Shion knelt down on one knee and listened quietly to the movement of the clock hands. Just as she was trying to figure out what the Sandaime was thinking, another ninja ran in from outside. Hokage-sama, it's not good. Uzumaki Naruto, that boy actually. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Yugao both looked over. Sarutobi Hiruzen, whose heartbeat suddenly slowed down a beat, thought something had happened to Naruto. Could it be that Shisui really? Come out and take a look. The crying ninja quickly led the way outside. When Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up at the highest point in Konoha, the Hokage face rock. Naruto's hearty laugh and the graffiti on the rock made Sarutobi Hiruzen stunned for a long time. Lord Hokage, you must punish this boy severely. Since the founding of the village, no one has ever dared to do such a thing, absolutely not. The subordinates gestured with their hands, hoping that the Sandaime would punish Naruto severely. However, in exchange, the Sandaime breathed a sigh of relief. Naruto, the kid is okay. That's really great. As for smearing the Hokage rock, after all, Naruto has grown up and has probably entered the stage of being a naughty child. This is normal. At this point, Sarutobi Hiruzen made up his mind. In order to punish Naruto, he decided to send Naruto to do volunteer work in the orphanage. Some of the employees at the orphanage are retired ninjas, and they can take good care of Naruto. Moreover, the orphanage will not allow outsiders to intervene at will. Naruto would not be in danger if others could not reach him. This can be regarded as a kind of temptation, testing whether Shisui really wanted to take advantage of that child Naruto. Shiyan, find a way to protect Naruto at close range. On Hayate's side, let him follow Shisui. Mao Shiyan. Yes, half an hour later, Naruto, who had cleaned the paint stains on his body, was sent to an orphanage. Reflect on yourself here, you kid. Click. With the scolding behind him, and the iron gate closing, Naruto was dropped at the entrance of the orphanage. However, what others think is the act of sending sheep into the flock is actually letting wolves into the flock. Quote. As a big bad wolf, Naruto looked at the little sheep running around in the orphanage without any interest. What makes Naruto interesting is the big sheep who is taking care of the children at this time. Next Z. Nun. Nanoyu, who is among a group of naughty children, exudes a strong maternal brilliance. With a holy smile on her face, she looked like a saint coming into the world. If there really are gods in this world, then Nanoyu will definitely go to heaven after his death. This nun's uniform shows holiness and purity. But the crotch outlined by this outfit. The body, however, carries the temptation of the devil. Plop. At this moment, a child suddenly fell down. The pain hurt her and she burst into tears. Upon seeing this, no Nayu immediately stepped forward and knelt down, helped the child up, and comforted him carefully. The brilliance of motherhood is almost overflowing. However, Naruto's focus was on the slit hem of the nun's uniform. Needless to say, there is no need to say anything about the plump and long legs. Staring at the looming white silk suspenders, the tailed beast monster sleeping inside the body quickly woke up. When Nanoyu's shining green hands were treating the little girl's knees, a miracle happened. Visible to the naked eye, the injury heals at the speed of light. His superb medical ninjutsu is unparalleled. At least now that Princess Tsunade has left Konoha, no one can compare to her. Not long after the treatment was completed, Nanoyu also noticed a certain burning gaze. She turned her head and spotted Naruto. Naruto's eyes also switched to a naive expression that narrowed into a line in an instant. Naruto-kun. Nanoyu stood up slowly, and the hem of the nun's uniform returned to its original position, covering the looming white silk suspenders. Dean. Naruto quickly explained why he was sent here. Nanoyu couldn't help but think to himself, this child is really innocent, but he has also reached the stage of being a naughty child. During this period, he must be well guided, educated, and tolerated. Smearing fire rock will cause trouble to everyone. Nanoyu took Naruto to the door of the lounge next to him. The children's lively and cheerful voices kept echoing in their ears. It was obvious that they were very happy. If you want to gain everyone's recognition, there are actually many other ways. Nanoyu, who could see Naruto's thoughts in a second, was a master at educating naughty children. Others thought Naruto was trying to play a prank. But only Nanoyu knew that Naruto wanted to gain the approval of others, but in a somewhat awkward way. Ha! This stupid female. Kyuubi disagreed. Uzumaki Naruto didn't think that at all. Naruto listened very seriously and kept nodding. This made Nanoyu sigh. Sure enough, kind children can be easily led. Dean, then, can I learn medical ninjutsu from you? The way to cure Hinata's mother and even become stronger is right in front of her. Of course he couldn't let go of this great opportunity. At that time, I can also take care of the little friends in the orphanage. After I go out, I can also treat the grandfathers and grandmothers who accidentally fell. I can even treat the injured Konoha ninja. Seeing Naruto say such kind words, Nanoyu was almost moved to tears. But for such a pure and good boy, he needs to continue to deceive him. No, Nayu's heart ached slightly. She quickly concealed her emotions and decided to do her best to teach Naruto medical ninjutsu. No problem, but before learning specific medical ninjutsu, we still need to master some theoretical knowledge. For example, we need to know the yang attribute first. Not long after, a familiar figure appeared in the orphanage. It's Azuki Shion, who often comes to volunteer. Taking advantage of this gap, in the name of volunteering, she began to protect Naruto at close range. On the trees outside the orphanage, Shisui stared at the scene inside the orphanage and couldn't help but frown. Uzumaki Naruto smeared the Hokage rock, and eventually the Hokage punished him for helping here. The thing itself was fine. But in this way, he would not be able to observe him up close. Orphanages are usually semi-enclosed and it is not easy to enter by yourself. There are two ninjas standing guard at this door alone. While Shisui was staring at the orphanage in deep thought, he lurked aside and used transparent release, blood succession limit, to hide his hayate, and couldn't help but sneer in his heart. Shunshin Shisui frowned. It means that he is unhappy because he is blocked out and away from the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, which makes the plan unable to be implemented. He paused for a moment and meditated. It means that he must be thinking about how to enter the orphanage and continue his plan to get close to the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki. Summarize. Uchiha is indeed plotting against the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Sunrise and sunset. When the sun rose the next day, Konoha ushered in the first Chunin exam of the year. The ninja school was vacated and became the venue for the first written examination. Candidates in groups of 3 filed in and walked towards the examination room in classroom 301. Itachi stood alone in the campus, staring at the many candidates coming and going. Taking part in the Chunin exam alone and at a young age, he instantly became the focus of everyone's attention. Itachi was not afraid of all kinds of unkind looks. With a calm look on his face, he quickly walked into the examination room. Among these candidates, 6 disguised Kurigakure ninjas also pretended to be genin candidates. According to Juzo's arrangements, they must pass every exam as much as possible. But it can't be too conspicuous, either high or low. At this time, the Junin lounge next to the ninja school. Loquat Juzang and the other leading Junin of the ninja village were staring at each other with big eyes. The sofa is very soft. Juzo leaned on it, surrounded by Junin who formed a circle. Hey, I'm not a rare animal in the zoo, why are you all looking at me? It was obvious that Juzo, who was being observed, was not afraid of the scene in front of him. Even if he was being watched by multiple Junin, he didn't think he would be found out. After all, it has been too long since the Third Ninja War. Well, although it seems to be only a few years, it is enough time for people to forget many things. The memory of fish is only 6 or 7 seconds. Human ones don't grow anywhere. What's more, he has already disguised himself. The Kurigakure village has always been closed to the outside world and has never communicated with the outside world, so everyone must feel that it is very rare. Nara Shikaku sat on the sofa opposite and smiled. In order to intimidate the leading Junin from various countries, a Konoha ninja with a strong title is necessary. As for the pig, deer and butterfly combination, any one of them would be a strong person known to other countries. I said, this friend of Kurigakure, does he look familiar to you? Nara Shikaku was contemplating the information in his mind while talking. However, even if his IQ exceeds 200, it is impossible to imagine that Loquat Juzo, who has become Kurigakure's traitor, will actually appear in front of everyone as the Junin leading Kurigakure's team. No, I don't know you at all. Juzang spread his hands and smiled, revealing his teeth that looked like sharp shark teeth. Early morning at the orphanage. Ha! Naruto yawned and stood up from the bed. The environment in the lounge of the single dormitory is very good, and you can hear the noise of the surrounding children early in the morning. I looked at the time and saw that it was only 5 o'clock in the morning. There is no other way, just go to bed early and get up early to keep your body healthy. After washing, Naruto hung a "Do not disturb during practice" sign on the door. Then he sat cross-legged on the bed and started practicing. Yang attribute, Yang escape, medical system. The basic knowledge of this part was taught by Nono yesterday. With the common sense of fire experts in his mind, Naruto completely sorted out this system. Admittedly, Naruto admitted that he was not a good material for a medical ninja. Because medical ninjas need to master a lot of knowledge about herbs, human body, etc. This requires reading countless materials and books, even manuscripts, drug formulas, etc. After all, even a wise man with a sophisticated mind like Orochimaru needs a medical ninja like Kabuto as his helper. Therefore, Naruto easily sorted out the route he should take, the ultimate Yang escape. It is also the way to go as an Asura Chakra reincarnation. Speaking of Yang attributes, we have to mention a real strong man who existed 1,000 years ago, the pioneer of the ninja sect, Six Paths Sage. The Six Paths Sage has a complete, Six Paths Yin and Yang escape. Some people also believe that the Six Paths Sage's brother, Otsutsuki Hamura, also possesses a complete Six Paths level Yin-Yang escape, regardless of whether this is right or wrong. At least in the official Naruto official book, the Book of Formations, the descendants of Hamura's earth lineage, that is, the Hyuga clans Hyuga Hiyashi, Hyuga Hazashi, Hyuga Hinata, Hyuga Neji, and other Hyuga clan members, have neither Yang nor Yin attributes. Obviously, they have seriously degenerated compared to their ancestors. As for the Six Paths Sage, his descendants have also undergone some kind of degeneration. The two sons of the Six Paths Sage, Ashura and Indra, inherited the Yang and Yin attributes respectively. This attribute continued to be passed down and passed on to their descendants, that is, the Senju clan and Uchiha clan of the Six Paths Sage's grandchildren. Set in the official Naruto official book, the Senju clan inherited Yang escape, and the Uchiha clan inherited Yin escape. The former has a strong physique, which brings additional characteristics such as vitality, physical skills, and the strength of skills. The latter can open the Sharingan and master the spiritual energy characteristics such as illusion. Compared with the Six Paths Sage, Ashura and Indra's power obviously only inherited at most half. Compared with the brothers, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan are more weakened. Although Naruto is not a Senju clan, and has nothing to do with the Uchiha clan. But as a reincarnation of Ashura Chakra, he has a very special color. This can be seen by comparing the wood escape of Senju Hashirama and the wood escape of Yamato Tenzo. The same blood limit has a huge difference in power in the hands of the two. The reason why Senju Hashirama is so strong is absolutely related to the Ashura Chakra in his body. Of course, even among the reincarnations of all generations, Senju Hashirama's strength is one of the best. Because according to Black Zetsu, for 1,000 years, the two chakras of Indra and Ashura have been reincarnated continuously, fighting for generations like quantum entanglement. Every time, they died together. Only in the generation of Senju Hashirama, he was able to suppress Uchiha Madara. In order to prevent myself from breaking my hand, I have to work hard. Naruto decided to follow Senju Hashirama's example and work hard to become stronger since childhood. Only by becoming stronger than the other party, that is, stronger than Seiko, can we avoid the tragedy of everyone breaking their hands. Senju Hashirama can always suppress Madara, and I, Uzumaki Naruto, can always beat Seiko. In this regard, even if Naruto feels that he can indeed save Seiko and save the Uchiha clan. But fate, the entangled fate of Ashura and Indra's chakra reincarnations may happen sooner or later. Power. No matter what you do, power is the premise of everything. Back to the point. Asura's identity as a chakra reincarnation means that he is born with Yang attribute. Yang attribute can lengthen the health bar, increase vitality, make physical skills stronger, faster, and more durable. The blue bar will also become longer, the number of spells will be more, and the power will be greater. Even without the assistance of the nine tails, it can evolve from chakra into Chidora, and even Chatanra. Just like Senju Hashirama, Yang attribute training does not require knowledge, only feeling. Just like me in the original work, using the six-path level Yang escape to create an eyeball for the white-haired Kakashi. Naruto thought, this is the ultimate application of Yang escape. It is also what can be done after accepting the power of the 6 paths of the 6 paths sage and being promoted to a 6 paths level strongman. This is different from Tsunade's yin seal. It does not require exquisite medical system capabilities, does not require memorizing so many books, and learns so much knowledge about the human body. It relies not on knowledge, but on feelings. Quote. Naruto closed his eyes and began to look for the feeling of yang attribute. The first step in practicing yang escape, to complete the nature change of yang attribute. The 5 basic chakra attributes of earth, water, fire, wind, and thunder can be tested by chakra test paper. The yin attribute and yang attribute depend entirely on personal talent. If there is, and if there is not, there is not. Unless you don't want to be a human being and rely on external objects. For example, Kakuzu's earth resentment, or borrowing the yin and yang power of the 9-tail. So, Naruto hummed for a long time, but didn't find the feeling. 9-tail, give me yang attribute, you should pay the rent this month. After failing to sense yang escape, Naruto began to, politely, ask 9-tail for rent. Crack. The 9-tail behind the sealed iron gate felt that Naruto was arrogant. You said you would give it, I don't care about face. If you don't work, you won't get paid. If you work, you have to pay taxes. People can't escape taxes from birth to death. Even if you are a tailed beast, you have to contribute something. Naruto began to talk nonsense. The life of a beast that doesn't create anything is meaningless. Forget it, I just know that you are full of bad water. 9-tail stood up from the cage, its huge body like a small mountain. The current situation made it think of the battle that ended the valley. Senju Hashirama stabbed Uchiha Madara in the back, and Uchiha Madara said he was putting the cart before the horse. 9-tail witnessed that scene with his own eyes. 9-tails. At that time, that guy Uchiha Madara said that because of Hashirama Senju's inverted priorities, Konoha would brew a new darkness. At first, 9-tails thought that the darkness was Tobirama Senju, or Danzo Shimura. But in fact, Uzumaki Naruto is darker than Hashirama Senju. As long as he keeps getting stronger, Konoha will sooner or later be doomed. So Uzumaki Naruto is the ultimate darkness, that Uchiha Madara said. In order to avenge Hashirama Senju, revenge Uzumaki Mito, Konoha, and even the entire human race, the 9-tails decided to lend more of his power to the kid in front of him. Want yang attribute? Then take it. The fusion of the tailed beast ball is yin and yang attributes too. 8. That is to say, each tailed beast has these 2 attributes. So for the 9-tails, separating the yang attribute from its own chakra is like playing. But at this time, Naruto is not a perfect Jinchuriki, and the 9-tails naturally does not have a heart-to-heart with Naruto. The yang attribute chakra, which should have been a single color, was stained with a layer of scarlet. This strange scarlet is the embodiment of the 9-tails' inner hatred, and also the negative power it has accumulated. At first glance, it is no different from the 9-tails' ordinary chakra. But the essential difference determines that this chakra will play a completely different role. So, what kind of changes will this kid have because of this? The 9-tail observed closely, looking forward to what will happen next. Yin escape can create something out of nothing. Yang escape injects vitality into the body. The 9-tail injected a large amount of vitality with hatred into Naruto's body. It's like pouring ink into black water. The 2 merged, and it was darker and deeper. Under the 9-tails' gaze, Naruto's body quickly changed. Crack, hiss. The bones and muscles vibrated at a high speed. It was like expanding from the inside of the body to the outside. It is visible to the naked eye that Naruto's body has grown stronger. The most noticeable thing is his height. Originally, he was in the middle of the height of his peers, but now he is starting to grow taller. In the original work, he was called a short and fat man. Naruto's height has soared, and his physique has undergone earth-shaking growth and changes under the nourishment of yang attribute chakra. For Naruto himself, the changes are not just that. First of all, it is the understanding of yang attribute. After a lot of yang attribute chakra, the body has remembered this attribute. Thus, the practice of yang attribute nature change was completed in one fell swoop. After obtaining the attribute, the next step is to condense the yang attribute chakra into a escape technique, that is, yang escape technique. Yang escape technique can be a medical ninjutsu, or it can be the Akamichi clan's multiplication technique. It has many variations, but it can be summarized in one sentence, a specialized type of escape technique that affects the body. This body can not only be for oneself, but also for others. The stimulated companion-tailed beast quickly awakened, expanded, and became even more terrifying. In the end, it easily surpassed the size of 99.99% of the companion-tailed beasts in the world. The deterrent it brings is more than 10,000 times stronger than that of a mouse. This alone is enough to make all the female ninjas who may see it change color. Then, Naruto's body continued to change. The appearance of a large amount of yang-style chakra was naturally noticed by other people in the orphanage. Even if you are not a perception ninja, you can clearly feel the sense of change coming from Naruto's dormitory. The sound of hurried running was heard in the corridor. Azuki Yugao and Nono looked at each other and then looked at the dormitory with a sign, "Do not disturb during practice." Yugao. This feeling. Nono. It is yang-style chakra. However, this level of chakra is too amazing. It is as huge as a lake, as big as a mountain. It is not enough to describe the feeling caused by the power that just exploded. It should be called Chidora instead of chakra. Yang style. Yugao suddenly remembered that Naruto had been asking Miss Nono about the yang style practice method all day yesterday. At first, she thought it was just a little bit of enthusiasm from a child. But she never thought that Naruto would actually make such an unimaginable big noise. I have never seen such a huge amount of yang attribute chakra. Who is this child? Nono asked this question in a bleak tone. As a spy, she was also a lurker sent by Danzo to Naruto. Of course, Nono knew almost all of Naruto's information in advance. She asked knowingly just to fit her identity as an orphanage employee. Azuki Yugao, who kept silent on the side, was just silent. Because she couldn't reveal the news that Naruto was the nine-tailed Jinchuriki to Nono. Ms. Nono, Naruto will be fine. After a moment, Yugao, who remembered that the other party was an expert in yang attribute, immediately turned around and asked. This. Nono had seen a lot of things when traveling around. Only Jinchuriki and tailed beasts could use such a huge amount of yang attribute. Naruto happens to be the nine-tails Jinchuriki, so there should be no problem. And he only released the yang attribute, not the yin attribute. So there is no need to worry about Naruto secretly condensing the tailed beast ball in the dormitory to play. In short, the orphanage will definitely not blow up. And Shi Yan, who was standing aside, was already eager to try and plan to break in. At this moment, the huge amount of Chidora's breath suddenly disappeared. A second later, the dormitory door opened with a creak. Naruto, who seemed to be completely fine, stood in the middle of the door. Dean, Shi Yan's sister, good morning. The two women looked at Naruto in front of them. I don't know if it's an illusion, Naruto seems to have grown a little taller. The body has become more symmetrical and stronger. Although it's a bit strange to say this, after all, Naruto is just a child. But the toughness he exudes is not something that other people of the same age can have. It's like a well-trained body that has been tempered and tempered thousands of times. The immature face has also matured a little, and the smile exudes the spirit of a 16 or 17-year-old boy. His gestures have also become completely different, giving people a sense of simplicity and efficiency. The truth is often very simple. The immature body restrains the mature soul. And I, Uzumaki Naruto, am now just making the container more suitable for showing my power. Naruto grinned, and his smile became brighter. At this time, the sewer where the Nine Tails lives has also undergone earth-shaking changes. The space has become more spacious and huge. But it's also darker. The Nine Tails looked at the cage that was almost pitch black, and felt as if he had completely fallen into the deep darkness. This kind of absolute darkness can drive any human being crazy and crazy. Fortunately, Kyuubi is not an ordinary creature. The pair of scarlet fox eyes finally penetrated the darkness and saw every corner clearly. The darkness of this kid's mind is simply unimaginable. The spiritual space is the embodiment of Naruto's heart. What you think is what you see. The hearts of Uzumaki Mito and Kushina are very bright, like a vast square. They used the King Kong blockade to seal the Nine Tails, which was like nailing the Nine Tails to a floating sphere in the square. Although I couldn't move at that time, at least the environment was beautiful. Uzumaki Naruto, this brat, is completely different from them. Kyuubi muttered. The enlarged cage has allowed Kyuubi to get up and move around and take a walk at will. But does this endless darkness seem to herald the end of all things? Or will everything be shrouded in eternal night? I gained my freedom, but lost something. No, I discovered something more. The real thing hidden in the heart of Uzumaki Naruto, the devil brat, began to be gradually revealed. Material determines spirit, and spirit in turn affects material. People's perceptions will change with reality. After practicing yang release, Naruto gained a stronger body and gained stronger self-confidence. At this point, he was eager to try and began to try to climb higher mountains. Naturally, and more daring to conceive of bigger ideas. Naruto, are you okay? Shiyan asked with concern immediately. I'm fine, I'm fine. Naruto had a very energetic expression on his face. It can be described as a spirited young man. Awesome, I gradually understand everything. Naruto thought he was doing great. At least I've never felt so energetic. The iron chains that used to restrain his hands and feet seemed to have partially disappeared as his body became stronger. In this way, you can flex your muscles more and do what you want to do. That's right. I, Naruto Uzumaki, am breaking away from my shackles, my mind is clearer, and I am opening my arms of a powerful body to embrace this beautiful world. But before that, I have to get home quickly. Yang escape makes me powerful, and it also makes the accompanying tailed beast in my body more difficult to control. There is nothing to do next. Just wait at home for Hinata to come to your door. It's time to release the depression that has accumulated for many days. Outside the orphanage, Shisui, who had been squatting for a whole day, also noticed internal changes. The huge yang chakra was observed by him from beginning to end. Although specific things cannot be seen with the naked eye, he can still observe the nature and color of chakra through his Sharingan. The scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan appeared in Shisui's eye sockets. How could the disgusting scarlet chakra emanating from that dormitory be captured by the kaleidoscope? Under the observation of the kaleidoscope-level Sharingan, every detail is included in the pupils of the eyes. What a disgusting feeling. Shisui shook his head, feeling only physiological discomfort all over his body. This chakra filled with negative auras such as hatred. Uzumaki Naruto, who is this guy? No matter who Uzumaki Naruto is, you can't fool anyone about the nature of his chakra. Uzumaki Naruto, known as the Demon Fox Boy, possesses disgusting chakra. This is also a true reflection of his heart. Itachi's view may not be biased. It's true that Zuozi shouldn't be allowed to continue to approach him. Because that guy Uzumaki Naruto is a dangerous person. Must leave. Then he told Itachi what he had observed. To be on the safe side, at least the contact between Seiko and Uzumaki Naruto must be interrupted. Only after confirming that Uzumaki Naruto himself is 100% a good person would it be possible to let Seiko play with him again. Moonlight Gale, who was also squatting on the side. After feeling the same shock, he locked his eyes on Shisui again. HMPH. Sure enough, staring at Shunshin Shisui who stood motionless, Hayate couldn't help but sneer. These Uchiha guys are eyeing the power of the Nine Tails. At this time, Hayate was hiding behind Uchiha Shisui, so he didn't know that Shisui's Sharingan had changed into a pattern different from any other Uchiha. Shisui, who had his back to Hayate, had turned on his kaleidoscope, but it was impossible to see the peepers behind him like the Hyuga clan's nearly 360-degree perspective. In this way, the two missed the opportunity to understand each other's essence. At this moment, Hayate suddenly saw Uchiha Shisui getting up and leaving without looking back. Leave. Hayate was slightly startled. Does he want to return to the Uchiha clan's headquarters to report the observed results to Uchiha Fugaku? If a non-Uchiha ninja enters the Uchiha clan's residence without permission, it can easily cause various problems. So, let Shion, who is an Anbu, do it. Quote. Next, it was Shien's turn to appear. So, he immediately entered the orphanage, stopped Shion in private, and told her the results of his observations. Shion nodded and then said goodbye to Naruto and Nanoyu. He ran straight towards the Anbu building. In the Anbu building, there are cameras and other equipment that monitor the Uchiha station 24 hours a day, as well as Anbu companions who work in shifts to monitor and operate the equipment. If nothing else happens, Kakashi-senpai, Tenzo-senpai, they are monitoring the Uchiha station. If it's really what Gale said, then Uchiha Shisui will most likely go to Uchiha Fugaku's house or the police department. Because it depends on where Uchiha Fugaku is now. Anbu office. Danzo got up early in the morning and took care of his official duties, and then got the progress of Itachi's exam from his subordinates. The first written test, Itachi didn't cheat and accomplished it based on his own ability alone. The second actual battle in the Forest of Death, Itachi, who went alone, easily defeated his opponents physically with 1 against 3. After gathering the Heaven Scroll and the Earth Scroll, it took 5 hours to reach the Death Forest Tower. In one fell swoop, he broke the record set by Namikaze Minato that year. With both civil and military skills, he was the first genius since the founding of Konoha. Various titles made him the absolute pride of heaven and the darling of the times. Considering that the Chunin examination is conducted in groups of 3, Uchiha Itachi's results are really surprising. His subordinates made this assessment. Currently, Weasel is resting in the tower in the center of the Death Forest. For him, the rest of the waiting time for repairs will be very boring. And if there are enough candidates left by then, there will be additional temporary duels. Reduce the number of people to a suitable number by killing most of the ninjas. The remaining people are eligible to participate in the third final assessment. At that time, the dignitaries and princes of various countries, that is, the daimyo, even Sunagakers, Case-Cage, would come to watch the Chunin exams. This will be an absolute feast. Ha ha ha. Danzo suddenly chuckled. Danzo-sama. The subordinates were confused as to why Danzo-sama suddenly laughed. Of course it's because Uchiha have uses for Uchiha. After he finished laughing, Danzo returned to his expressionless and sinister look. The day of Uchiha's demise is gradually approaching. How could I not feel happy? What's going on over there at Nanoyu? Danzo asked again. The subordinates wearing evil ghost masks immediately reported the results of Nanoyu and Naruto's relationship. Learning yang attributes. Naruto's face appeared in Danzo's mind. Although I don't know what the nine-tailed demon fox is planning, it's definitely not good. Because that kid is completely different from Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina. He is a born bad guy. As someone of his own kind, Danzo sees this very clearly. However, it would not be impossible if the Yondaime's child could be used as his own through no. What would the dead Namikaze Minato think if he knew that his child would enter the route? For the nine-tailed demon fox, he is bound to win. 1 minute later, Naruto left the orphanage. After a whole day of labor reform yesterday, he was successfully released from prison. So Naruto's departure was not blocked by anyone, especially when Uchiha Shisui also ran away. Shiyan and Gecko Gale both went to the Hokage building, and the two exchanged their respective information along the way. Realizing the seriousness of the problem, Shiyan soon understood the importance of monitoring Uchiha. When she first entered the Anbu building and saw the various equipment used to monitor Uchiha, she subconsciously resisted. Only now did she understand how biased she was. If the Nine Tails rebellion was really caused by the Uchiha clan, then, the village's vigilance was absolutely necessary. Soon, Naruto returned home. At the door of his house, he met Hinata, who came to visit, and, the maid of the branch family as he wished. When she saw Naruto coming home, the things in her heart on Hyuga Natsu's face were reflected on her face, and she could hardly hide it. She didn't want to come here from the bottom of her heart. It was just that she couldn't refuse what the lady ordered. Before leaving, the lady specifically ordered to help Naruto clean up and take care of his daily life, including washing clothes and so on. However, the lady didn't know that the Uzumaki Naruto she had identified and favored was an out-and-out devil. Naruto. Hinata waved happily when she saw Naruto coming home. Standing at the door, she looked like a wife waiting for her husband to come home. Hinata, wrapped in a white kimono, shone with the refinement and luxury of a wealthy family. After the crisis of the Hyuga clan was resolved, the entire clan fell into a relaxed atmosphere. Especially after they began to climb the high branch of the son of the fourth generation, Naruto, the clan that used to be gloomy became much more active. Even the always old-fashioned elders of the clan and the clan leader Hyuga Hiyashi had more smiles on their faces. The clan is full of vitality and has a bright future. The helmsman of the clan will naturally be in a much happier mood. Of course, if you don't think about the future, you will have worries in the near future. The Hyuga clan is not without any worries. Now, there is a tragedy that can be seen with the naked eye. Maybe now, about to happen, or in the future, that tragedy will happen. It's Hinata, and Axia. Naruto called Hyuga Sha by her name. The latter could only lower her head and try to hide her expression and eyes as much as possible. Since Naruto became a noble of Hyuga, the internal communication of the Hyuga clan about this matter is inevitable. Everyone basically reached a consensus, that is, to regard Naruto's status as second only to the top leaders of Konoha. Perhaps only Jiraiya and Princess Tsunade of the three ninjas can get such an honor. The whole clan reached a consensus, so what can she do as a small maid of the branch family? Squeak. The door opened, revealing a bright entrance. This place is the center of Konoha, with good lighting. However, in the eyes of Hyuga Sha, this passage is like a devil's cave in hell. Hinata, Axia, please come in. Naruto stood at the door and smiled, and his smile gradually twisted into a devil's grin in the eyes of Hyuga Sha. Naruto-kun seems to have grown taller. Hinata looked at Naruto, who was taller than her, and was a little suspicious, but she didn't think much about it. As Hinata entered the entrance first, Hyuga Sha's body trembled slightly, and her steps were slow. She felt that she was walking into the abyss step by step. In the living room not long after, Hinata chatted with Naruto, while Hyuga Sha began to clean the entire house. Naruto's house is divided into 2 floors. A basement. The normal living floor with a terrace. Hyuga Sha didn't know the existence of the basement, and the use of the Byakugan is very similar to Akai's self-restraint on the 8 gates. The Byakugan is extremely restrained and cannot be shown casually. Because the more you know, the faster you die. This is the ancestral precept of the Hyuga clan. Turn a deaf ear to the outside world and read the Soft Fist book with one heart. After looking around, Hyuga Sha, who didn't find the basement, went to the kitchen first. The kitchen was unusually clean, with almost no oil stains. This shows that Uzumaki Naruto always eats takeout and eats out. Or, instant noodles. Naruto-kun. Hinata, whose face was flushed and excited, suddenly got stuck while talking. And a sad expression appeared on her face. What's wrong, Hinata? Naruto asked immediately while stuffing snacks into his mouth. Hinata and Hyuga Natsu brought a lot of delicious food this time. At least there is no need to worry about snacks for 10 days or half a month. For the sake of snacks, Naruto asked casually. Woo, Obviously, Hinata had something to hide. However, under Naruto's persuasion, she soon told the truth. Hinata, my mother has not been in good health since she was a child. Nine-tailed fox, as a member of the main family, she is not in good health. People with good health cannot become members of the main family. Hehe. Since she was free, Nine-tailed fox began to control the politics of Konoha. Although the adults kept it a secret from Hinata, Hinata was not a fool. She was very thoughtful and could not help feeling depressed and worried after knowing her mother's health problems. Especially, my mother is pregnant with my sister now, and her health is even more grim. As she spoke, Hinata was about to cry. Woo. Hinata sniffed and began to wipe her tears. The room suddenly became very quiet. Hinata thought, Naruto-kun is really considerate, sympathetic to others' feelings. However, at this moment, Naruto's eyes had already glanced at the maid beside him. Kyubi, where are you looking? Kyubi thinks. Uzumaki Naruto is really a jerk. Her mother may die at any time, it's fine if you don't comfort her, but you actually look at her randomly at this time. Although I have the idea of helping Hinata's mom, after all, there are some things that you must be sure of and can do before you can speak up. Naruto looked at the maid who was cleaning the kitchen. Today, Hyuga Natsu wore a black and blue lining and a white and brand new lace-made outfit. Her short dark green hair that reached her ears showed her efficiency and neatness. As if she noticed Naruto's gaze, she turned her head while wiping the table with a wet paper towel. It didn't matter that she saw it, her face changed instantly. Because she could clearly see the awakening of the monster across the low table. Because of the inspection, Hinata, who was wiping her tears, could not see it. The pretty maid turned pale and turned back immediately, wiping the table with a tremor. Perhaps she remembered the experience on New Year's Eve, or perhaps she was afraid of what was about to happen. Humph, you still said something sensible. Kyubi snorted. This kid, at least knows not to make promises to others casually. But the next second, Hinata, don't worry, I will definitely find a way to cure Aunt Yuyu. I'm already trying. Naruto clenched his fists and made a promise to Hinata. Kyubi, Hinata, Naruto-kun. Hinata shed tears again, and this time, she was moved. Kyubi, what am I expecting? Kyubi of course didn't understand. As the protagonist, Naruto meant that as Uzumaki Naruto, he made promises to others. Oh no, isn't it normal to make promises to others? I will also promise in the Chunin exam that I will make Inuzuka Kiba a stray dog in the future. After Nagato died, he also promised Konan to bring peace to the Hidden Rain village. And Naruto couldn't help but feel happy when he thought about how many big cakes he had. Oh no, promises he could draw. Naruto-kun, thank you. I really don't want to lose my mother. Hinata wiped her tears and her body suddenly began to shake. She was tired. After the new year, she hadn't slept well for a few days. She had been worried about her mother's health and the safety of her sister in her mother's belly. Well, with the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan, the gender of the fetus can be clearly determined. Adult Hyuga clan members can even detect problematic fetuses in time. This is also the secret of the Hyuga clan's internal marriage for 1,000 years, but it has continued to this day. Hinata, go to sleep if you are tired. I'm here, don't worry. Naruto waved his hand, indicating that Hinata should be at ease. Yeah, Hinata hummed softly, and soon lay on the quilt under Naruto's arrangement. Naruto-kun's breath. Hinata's face turned redder as she smelled Naruto's breath on the quilt. Soon, she fell into a deep sleep. Looking at this scene, Naruto's expression gradually disappeared. Hinata Shaw was cleaning. She wiped the kitchen countertop, and her speed became slower and slower. Because her attention was focused on the gaze behind her. Tap. As the footsteps on the floor sounded, from far to near, Hinata Shaw's body became more and more tense. Until, almost zero distance, they could sense each other's breath, and at this point, Hinata Shaw's hair stood on end. Naruto stood behind Hinata Shaw, breathing more and more heavily. The practice of yang escape is not only a new way to become stronger, but also a way to save Hinata's mother, and even others. But before that, the obstacles on the road of practice must be overcome. The negative emotions caused by seeing Azuki Yugao in fashionable winter clothes, Nonoyu in white silk suspenders nun clothes, and others. It must be eliminated properly. Hinata Shaw finally couldn't bear it anymore and moved aside like lightning. However, the kitchen was so small that she retreated to the edge of the gas stove. When she saw the strangeness of Naruto's clothes, she couldn't help but change color. Her pretty face turned pale. Her thin pink lips began to tremble. Hyuga Shaw didn't know that the tailed beast in Naruto's body was nourished by yang escape, and it was even more different from before. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. No, Naruto-sama. Hyuga Shaw subconsciously apologized, even though Naruto didn't say a word. This may also be because Naruto said last time that he would not forgive her so easily. When apologizing, it's common sense. Naruto's words made the scene of New Year's Eve flash back in Hyuga Shaw's mind. That was a memory she didn't want to face. Fear comes from pain, and the damage caused to her has penetrated into her bones. So her body began to tremble almost uncontrollably. The skin that had already healed seemed to start to ache slightly. That was last time. This time, apologize with a more sincere attitude. Naruto's voice gradually became colder. At first, Hyuga Shaw didn't understand. But soon, as Naruto's eyes moved and his hum prompted her, she understood what she should do. The pretty maid slowly loosened her right hand holding the white paper towel. Then, her hands slowly moved down and placed them at the hem of her dress. Obviously, her slow speed proved her inner struggle at this time. But Uzumaki Naruto was an existence she couldn't resist. From the moment she reprimanded, drove away, etc., she had already determined her own tragic ending. Hyuga Sha regretted her original behavior in her heart. However, there is no such thing as regret medicine. Woo, she cried in her heart. But no one would come to save her at this moment, and no one could save her. The fingers gradually tightened, and during this process, a humiliated expression appeared on that fair and pretty face. The clenched white teeth were white and neat. The true emotions in the heart floated in the eyes and expressions with the subconscious. The white eyes were full of disgust, anger, and disdain. This is the truth that cannot be disguised or concealed. As the pretty maid raised her arms tremblingly, she matched this disgusted expression. Naruto couldn't help but grin, with the corners of his mouth curved up. Today is a good day, sunny. The white scenery in the sky is extremely beautiful, very suitable for evacuating the negative thoughts in the heart. As the winner of the second test, Itachi left the examination room on the morning of the second day after passing the Death Forest. The remaining number of candidates was not enough to hold an overtime match. So the examiner told Itachi to directly prepare to participate in the third test 3 days later. In addition, Itachi broke the time to pass the Death Forest since the founding of Konoha village. This record is even better than that of the fourth generation Hokage Namikaze Minato. Almost all examiners believe that Itachi has unlimited future prospects. Itachi was not too proud of this. He just felt that he was one step closer to becoming Hokage. With such a happy mood, he returned to the Uchiha clan's headquarters. As soon as I returned home, I heard faint conversations coming from inside. The top brass has once again cut the budget for our police department. This is another oppression. Not only you, Captain, but also Shisui has been transferred back from the front line. It's obvious. The higher-ups don't want us Uchiha to be successful in this border conflict with Kumogakure. Yashira's fierce voice reached Itachi's ears as his tone increased. Itachi had heard similar complaints countless times. As Yashira and other radicals became increasingly dissatisfied with the village, this dissatisfaction began to escalate into hostility towards the village. We can no longer swallow our anger. After a while, Yashira and the others walked out of the living room. The three of them nodded slightly towards Itachi, who returned the courtesy. After they left, his father's serious face appeared under the eaves. Itachi, what's the result of the exam? Well enough. When Itachi told how the exam went, he was thinking about the increasingly terrifying atmosphere of the Uchiha clan recently. A shadow enveloped his heart, and Itachi's mood became increasingly depressed. I don't know what's going on with Shisui. As expected of my son. When Fugaku heard that his son had broken the record for passing the Death Forest, his solemn face relaxed slightly. This was also something that pleased him. Where are mother and the others? Itachi didn't notice his mother or sister. In fact, he was more worried about his sister, fearing that her sister would see Uzumaki Naruto again. Seiko and your mother went out to buy groceries. As he said that, Uchiha Fugaku walked outside. I'm going out for a trip. Itachi guessed where his father was going, thinking about Uchiha, and entered the house after a long time. 10 minutes later, Itachi, who was drinking tea in the living room, met Shisui, who came to visit in a hurry. Seeing the anxious look on Shisui's face, Itachi knew that Shisui must know something. Itachi, that Uzumaki Naruto is too dangerous. After Zishui entered the house, he picked up the tea and drank it in one gulp. He immediately told Itachi what he had observed over the past 2 days. Naruto Uzumaki, who seems harmless to humans and animals, actually hides huge evil power within his body. The boy named Uzumaki Naruto probably has a darker heart than anyone else. Shisui sat down cross-legged with a worried look on his face. How do you know? Itachi was confused. Could Shisui still be able to see through other people's minds? Have you forgotten that I possess the Mangekyo Sharingan? Quote. Shisui pointed at his eyes. In front of these eyes, no detail can escape his observation. Uchiha's Sharingan, at close range, San Magatama can see nano-level chakra. The kaleidoscope's ability to observe details surpasses the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. From the beginning to the end, Uzumaki Naruto has unspeakably terrifying chakra on him. I am afraid that is his reality. He hesitated for a moment. Shisui intends to tell a certain truth. Itachi, you children of the younger generation, there is actually something that the adults have been keeping in the dark. Itachi, this starts from the Nine Tails Rebellion. Shisui sighed and told the whole story. Later, Lord Hokage ordered that no one should mention that Uzumaki Naruto is the nine-tailed demon fox. Uzumaki Naruto is the nine-tailed demon fox. Shisui's information gave Itachi a huge shock. What all adults know, but the new generation doesn't know. No wonder the villagers treated Uzumaki Naruto like that. It turns out that Uzumaki Naruto is the Kyuubi. As a witness to the Nine Tails Rebellion, Itachi still vividly remembers the tragedy that happened that night. I don't know how many people and families have been broken up or even destroyed because of this. At first I thought it was some unreliable rumor. After all, how could a nine-tailed demon fox turn into a child? Shisui smiled bitterly. Until I witnessed the essence of Uzumaki Naruto with my own eyes. That chakra gave me exactly the same feeling as the night of the Nine Tails Rebellion. It's a pity that I was old at the time. I'm not big either, so I don't have a deep sense of some things. Shisui shrugged. Don't mention this to anyone. After all, it was the Hokage's personal order. Then why are you telling me? The answer is already obvious. Shisui, who is both a teacher and a friend, regards himself as his most important partner. Shisui-san, you came to my house again. Just when Itachi was immersed in emotion, his sister's lovely voice sounded from the yard outside. My sister, carrying big and small bags, returned from grocery shopping with her mother. Haha, what, Zuozi, are you worried that I will steal your brother? Shisui changed his face in a second, stood up with a smile, and faced his sister. After teasing Seiko, Shisui said he would no longer disturb her. And Makoto, I'm going back first. Before leaving, Shisui turned around and gave Itachi a look. Itachi nodded slightly, understanding Shisui's good intentions. Uzumaki Naruto is the incarnation of the Nine Tails, which is a demon fox that brings disaster to Konoha. Conclusion: sister should not be allowed to get close to Uzumaki Naruto. Brother, how did your exam go? After putting down the package, Seiko immediately ran over and asked her brother about the results of the first 2 rounds of the Chunin exam. After learning about the process, Sako's eyes began to light up. Congratulations, brother. My brother is really amazing. Then, I will go to watch the 3rd round in person. And with that guy Uzumaki Naruto. However, before Seiko could tell her preparation plan, her enthusiasm was completely extinguished by her brother's cold water. Seiko. When Itachi spoke, Makoto had already gone to the kitchen. In the future, don't continue to associate with Uzumaki Naruto, not even contact. Quote ? Quote. Seiko was shocked. She was so happy the last second. Why? Because Shisui's observation, combined with his own identification of Uzumaki Naruto. From the eyes of that boy, Itachi saw only evil thoughts. His feelings told him that this was the case. Quote. You should know how the villagers treat him. Itachi gave a reason that was not really a reason. But, brother, I will watch the 3rd round of the Chunin exam with Uzumaki Naruto. I have already promised him that I will recognize him as a friend in the future. Thinking of Naruto's bright and expectant eyes, thinking of him being alone and helpless. Anyway, don't contact him again in the future. Itachi reached out and touched his sister's head. I know. Seiko lowered her head. At the same time, Naruto's family. This is all right. Hinata Shaw glanced at Naruto with disgust and disdain. The fair and pretty face turned red because of humiliation. Maintaining this action, both arms were shaking. However, Naruto was not in a hurry, and with a rustling sound, he released the accompanying tailed beast. The hideous form of the demon-tailed beast instantly appeared in the world. On the tiled kitchen wall, in addition to Naruto's shadow, the hideous projection of the demon was also projected. The tailed beast, nourished by the yang-release chakra, became stronger. It was also more eager to erode this world. Naruto's suppression of it has reached the extreme. At this moment, it is time for the tailed beast to be released and the demon to be released. Quote. Hinata Shaw saw this scene, and her disgusted expression instantly turned into horror. A stormy wave rolled in her heart, like the rolling sea surface in a storm. Fear, awe, unbelievable, finally turned into a cry of doubt in her heart. How is it possible? The hell-tailed beast that could not exist in reality has really come to the world. Plop. The next second, Hinata Shaw suddenly knelt down, her knees and palms all touched the cold kitchen floor tiles. The sudden, invisible force suppressed her. This force is the manifestation of the oppression of the superior to the weak. Just like in the original work, Kakashi couldn't help sweating when he saw Orochimaru, and even saw the illusion of his own body and head being separated. Being unable to move, kneeling, seeing hallucinations, are all natural reactions. This also shows that Naruto's strength has formed an absolute crushing momentum against Hinata Shaw. Now, it's just releasing his true momentum. And it was this fall that brought her closer to Naruto. And closer to the terrible abyss-tailed beast. The hot breath was right beside her ears, and a few strands of dark green hair gently brushed and fell on the tailed beast. Naruto, with a cold face, then uttered 2 words in a low voice. Swish. Naruto-kun. Hinata next door was sleeping soundly, she didn't know what happened in the kitchen. Smelling the scent on the quilt, she had a beautiful dream. In the dream, she and Naruto played happily. She also dreamed that Naruto found a way to treat his mother. She also dreamed that her sister who was about to be born came to this world and began to grow up gradually. Hinata Natsu. Wu. Hokage building. Sarutobi Hiruzen listened to the reports of Azuki Yugao and Gekko Hayate, and his brows couldn't help but frown more and more. The fact that Naruto is a demon fox is widely known to the public in Konoha. But the public usually has a misunderstanding that Naruto is the 9 tails. In fact, Naruto is just the container of the 9 tails, that is, the Jinchuriki, he is not the demon fox itself. The reason for this misunderstanding is Konoha's long-standing policy of blocking the tailed beasts. Not only has the 9 tails been blocked, and there is no intention to activate it. It has also blocked all knowledge about the tailed beasts. This point is the difference between Konoha and other countries. Other countries actively use everything about the tailed beasts, but Konoha always keeps it closed. In the long run, it is natural that many misunderstandings will arise. The question now is, did Uchiha Shisui also misunderstand Naruto, thinking that Naruto's child is the 9 tails itself? The lack of education in the tailed beast knowledge system has created such a large number of illiterates. When the illiterates start to fantasize about it, disasters that should not have happened will happen. Konoha feels like shooting itself in the foot. It's really not very good. But if Uchiha Shisui is not for personal reasons, assuming that he really knows the truth about Naruto's identity and knows that Naruto is the son of the 4th generation. I mean, Uchiha Fugaku told Shisui these things. Then, does this mean that Uchiha knew it and did it deliberately? Did they really intend to use the 9 tails in Naruto's body? Once suspicion arises, it is not easy to eliminate. When Danzo's suspicion becomes a possible fact, what should the Uchiha clan do? Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly fell into a prisoner's dilemma. The Uchiha problem is a historical problem since the establishment of the village. But at the same time, Uchiha is also a part of Konoha and a comrade in arms of everyone. How to deal with this clan is a headache. Especially when he learned that Itachi's second test results even surpassed Namikaze Minato and became the first genius since the establishment of the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen's mood was particularly complicated. The problem of Uchiha has always been that there has never been a Hokage. With Itachi's talent, becoming a Hokage is actually a matter of time. But now his clansmen can't wait to make trouble. This will not only destroy Itachi, but also the Uchiha clan itself. Let's transfer Uchiha Shisui back to the front line first, and then see the reaction of other Uchiha clan members. Sarutobi Hiruzen made up his mind and decided to let Uchiha Shisui return to the battlefield. If there are other Uchiha strongmen who come to contact Naruto at that time, then the next step will be carried out in a targeted manner. Yugao, Hayate, for the next period of time, the protection of Naruto will be handed over to you two. In order to protect Naruto more conveniently, Sarutobi Hiruzen decided to let Gekko Hayate also participate in this task. Yugao, Hayate, yes. Chi. Ha. Naruto took a long breath and felt refreshed. Turned and left the kitchen, and returned to the living room leisurely. Hinata was still sleeping under the quilt. The companion-tailed beast slowly became silent and also fell into a deep sleep. Everything is fine. Wow. Opening the balcony window, the spring breeze blew in, sucking away the excess heat. Naruto sat cross-legged on the terrace and began a new round of Yangtun practice. At this time, Naruto's state of mind was calm, and the accumulated negative influence was temporarily driven away. Next, it will be another day of rapid progress. At the same time, in the kitchen, the maid of the Branch family slumped on the floor, her back and head leaning against the lower cabinet door. The bright morning sun shone in from the window, reflecting her head that was slightly tilted to one shoulder. The originally lively white eyes were now absent-minded, and endless sadness permeated the bottom of her eyes. The thin little mouth was slightly open, as if making a silent cry. The whole pretty face was full of the remaining chakra of the demon-tailed beast. Crystal tears slid from the corners of her eyes and finally dripped on the white maid uniform. When Hinata woke up, it was already afternoon. The sun was tilting, and it was about to be dusk. Hinata rubbed her eyes and turned her head to look at the brand new house. Obviously, after a whole day of cleaning, the room became more tidy. Shaw, shaw, the sound of cleaning came from outside the door. Hinata got up, left the bedding, walked to the entrance and looked out, and saw Axia sweeping the stairs with a broom. Where is Naruto-kun? Hinata looked around and finally found Naruto, who was practicing cross-legged on the terrace. After a while, Hinata and Hyuga Shaw stood at the door, ready to leave. Hinata, with a red face, focused all her attention on Naruto and didn't notice Hyuga Shaw's abnormality at all. Because if she looked carefully, she would find that her maid's eyes were a little red and her expression was unusually depressed. Axia cleaned really well. At this time, Naruto suddenly scratched his head and smiled happily. Hyuga Shaw, who was named, shuddered immediately, almost subconsciously. Next time, Hinata, when you come to play, please ask Axia to come with you. The hint in Naruto's words, next time. This made Hyuga Shaw's expression on her face immediately become sad and resistant. In Naruto's opinion, if Hyuga Shaw could come regularly and send her once in a while, then it means that there is a fixed means to eliminate the negative effects of his practice. No problem, Hinata agreed at once. As long as Naruto-kun is happy, she thought to herself. Wait until the two of them leave. Naruto looked at the sky that was about to get dark. It's getting late. It's time to go have dinner. Ichiraku Ramen Shop. Naruto opened the curtain and walked in. It's Naruto. He raised his head and saw that it was Naruto who came, and he couldn't help but feel happy. If he remembered correctly, this was the first time Naruto came when there were other customers. Is the young man finally no longer afraid of others? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.